Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I, Naruto, signed Kaguya Otsutsuki at the beginning. Chapter 21. Lord Yechin, what is this for? Lord Yechin is making a seal. Could it be that Lord Yechin wants to use any technique to establish this area well? Quote. How is this possible? In such a large area, even if there are 1,000 Zongnin performing ninjutsu at the same time, it is impossible to establish it in a short time. Quote. Yes. This is not a small place, just that huge pit. Even if the ninja wants to fill it, it will take a lot of time. Quote. Watching Yechin alone and begin to make prints on the scorched earth of the ruins, everyone present began to talk again. However, without exception, no one believed that Yechin could rebuild this place on his own. Boom. Just when everyone was talking, with the night morning as the center, a momentum was like a violent wind, blowing in all directions. Wang. The blue chakra, visible to the naked eye like a flame, shrouded the whole person in the night. This is, quote, what a huge chakra, oh my god. This chakra. Everyone felt the momentum that erupted from Yi Chen's body, and closed their mouths one by one. And when they saw Yi Chen's entire blue chakra anger and shrouded in one scene, their eyes widened and they were full of shock. Especially ninjas who have sentient abilities. They are the most familiar and sensitive to chakra. At this time, in their eyes, Yechin was like a giant beast condensed by chakra. This huge chakra pressed down on these sentient ninjas, and their breathing seemed to stop. Phew, Hinata Hiyashi gasped. At this time, he had opened his white eyes, and under the gaze of the white eyes, he could better understand how terrifying the chakra of the night was. Ju Shinai, how do I feel? Yechenjin is a member of the Vortex clan, but you seem to be a fake. After Uchiha Makoto was shocked, she looked at Ju Shina on the side, and said mockingly. HMPH. Ju Shinai snorted coldly, and then looked at Uchiha Makoto and said, Makoto, do you remember what Yechin said? Shibetsu was impressed for 3 days, and the chakra in the night and morning was indeed terrifying, and he almost caught up with me. Quote. Ju Shinai, I haven't seen it for a few days. You can blow the cow into the sky, I really admire it. Makoto Uchiha didn't believe Shinai's words at all, and smiled at her. She and Ju Shinai have known each other since childhood, can she not know the situation of Ju Shinai? Hey, why haven't you believed the truth all these days? When Ju Shinai heard this, he shrugged his shoulders and sighed. In fact, Kushina did not lie to Makoto Uchiha. Since her body, half of the 9 tails were sealed. She could clearly feel that the cells in her body had become more active. Not counting the chakra of the 9 tails, her own chakra amount alone has skyrocketed more than 10 times compared to what she once had. Compared with Ju Shinai, they still have leisure and small talk. The faces of Ape Flying Sun Chopper and the others were a little ugly. Although the amount of chakra cannot fully represent strength. However, this is measured according to different people. Like Yi Chen, with Mu Dun and such a huge amount of chakra, the strength is simply terrifying. Tudin. The art of Earth nuclear movement. Yechin's voice suddenly seemed to have magical power, reaching everyone's ears. Suddenly, everyone came back to their senses, one by one, all looking at Yi Chen deadly. I saw that at this time, in the morning of the night, my hands were violently pressed on the ground. Wang wang. At the moment when both hands pressed on the earth in the morning of the night, the whole earth seemed to turn into the surface of water, turning over layers of waves. Boom, boom, boom. The earth began to shake. At first, the shaking was not yet noticeable. But soon, the underground of the entire commodity area, as if a giant beast was churning, shook violently and actually formed a large earthquake. And miraculously, the scope of this earthquake is only in the scope of the commodity area. Boom. Under the uneasy, frightened, and curious gaze of everyone, the large pit with a radius of nearly 100 meters was lowered, and a layer of earth suddenly rose. The entire big pit, as if someone was underground, pushed the soil underground, and actually directly filled the entire big pit. Not only that, but in this area, there were still some building ruins, and in this wave of earthquakes, all the building ruins were buried in the earth. When everything calms down, what appeared in front of everyone's eyes was no longer big pits and ruins. It's a flat land. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them at this time, and they were all stunned. However, today is destined to be an unforgettable day. When they were still shocked that Yechin alone could handle hundreds of ninjas, they couldn't do it in a short time. The night morning was sealed again. Mu Dun, the art of the Lianju family. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook again, and a roar reached everyone's ears. However, even if it was such a harsh sound, everyone was still in a state of shock and confusion. Even, some people were so shocked that their mouths opened too wide and drool flowed down without noticing. How did I forget Mu Duan? Ape Fei Ri had a gloomy face, watching the floors rising up in front of him, his fists clenched, and his heart was constantly roaring. He actually forgot that Mu Dun can also build houses. He actually forgot that Mu Dun can not only be used for combat, but also for green. Ah, build a house. Yechin, who has Mu Dun and has such a huge chakra, gave such a large commodity area. It was simply given to a hen that laid golden eggs in the night morning. What a misstep. Sarutobi, look at the good things you did. Tuan Zhang saw one building after another rising from the earth, and then thought of the mocking words he said. His face was hot and painful, so, with his heart uneven, he directly accused the Ape Flying Sun. Ape Flying Sun Chopper is also full of anger now. Hearing Tuan Zhang's words, he glanced at him coldly, and did not say a word. Tuan Zhang saw Ape Fei Richo's gaze full of anger, and immediately closed his mouth. Sarutobi didn't pay any more attention to Tuan Zhang, and looked gloomy at the commodity area that had originally turned into ruins. I saw that at this time, the commodity area rose. 2 or 3 story buildings rose one after another, staggered to form 2 blocks connecting Konoha Center Road. Haired, scent, developed. Ju Shina watched 2 blocks form in front of her eyes, and after coming back to her senses, she directly hugged Uchiha Makoto next to her and shouted excitedly. Ha! Uchiha Makoto also came back to his senses, and said with a smile on his face, Ju Shinai, you are now the biggest chartered woman in Konoha. Quote. Ha ha. Ju Shinai laughed loudly, and then, looking at Uchiha Makoto like a little fox, he said, each other, you will also have a share in the rent in the future. Quote. When Uchiha Makoto heard this, she was stunned at first, and then, she glanced at the direction of Yechin, and her pretty face was slightly red. Mu Duan, can it still be used like this? Quote. Uchiha Fugaku saw the block that appeared in front of him and rubbed his eyes in disbelief. For Mu Dun's understanding, he also knew like everyone else that Mu Dun had a powerful blood succession limit that calmed the ninja realm and hung the tailed beast. But he never thought that Mu Dun could actually use it like this. Eyes open, eyes open. At the same time, there is unstoppable joy in the heart. Originally, he pulled the Uchiha clan to take over this reconstruction task, just to win over Yechin. All are ready for heavy bleeding. But I didn't expect that Yechin actually engaged in such a hand, and at this moment, his Uchiha family not only would not lose, but would make a lot of money. Without a penny, the entire commodity area was built almost in the morning. The Inoka butterfly trio had a smile on their faces at this time, just like Uchiha Fugaku. Speaking of which, the pig deer butterfly trio stood in line at night and morning, and there was also an element of gambling. Although Lu Ju said that the reason why he stood in the night and morning was entirely because the high-level people of the Sarutobi village Tuanzang harmed their clansmen and used their clansmen for experiments. However, I have to say that compared to other families, the ape flying sun slash is still good for the 3 families of pigs and deer butterflies. And Shikaku took the Yamanaka and Akamichi clans, obviously standing in line at night, except for the reason he said. The most important thing is that he is optimistic about the future of Yechin. On Yechin's body, he saw the figure of the first Hokage. Oh no, I should have seen the spirit of the original Hokage that calmed the ninja world. Even, in Yechin's body, he saw an ambition that the original Hokage did not have. This is a restless existence. Shikaku didn't know what kind of changes such an ambitious and powerful guy as the birth of the ninja world would bring to the ninja world. However, his family must survive this change, and even lead the family to a higher level. So, he gambled. He took his own family, as well as the Yamanaka and Akamichi clans, all bet on Yechin. Facts did not disappoint him either. The ability shown by Yechin has allowed them to get the reward they deserve temporarily, which also makes him more determined in his decision. Compared to Uchiha Fugaku, who was broken in line, the pig deer butterflies bet treasure. Hinata still had a little bitterness on her face. He stood in line all night and morning, a little confused. Although he was also optimistic about Yechin, due to the reasons within the Hyuga clan, some people in the clan were already dissatisfied with him standing in Yechin. In addition, the ape flying sun chop looked at him from time to time, which really made him difficult. Phew. Ignoring the thoughts of the others, Yechin wiped a wave of sweat from his forehead, and looked at the two streets that connected Konoha's center road, and a smile also appeared on his face. This wave of large-scale changes to the terrain, as well as the construction of houses, directly made his chakra, which was comparable to a tail, almost bottomed out. However, the effect was still very satisfactory to him. Morning. Just breathed a sigh of relief. Ju Shinai ran to Yi Chen. His little face was a little red because of excitement and looked at Yi Chen. You were really powerful, this time, we really made a lot of money. Ha ha. Yechin looked at Ju Shinai, whose little face was red because of excitement, and couldn't help but smile. He took Ju Shinai's hand and pulled her towards the newly built street. Go, my charter mother, let's go and see your territory. Quote. Pulling Ju Shinai, he was about to take a step. His eyes suddenly saw Uchiha Makoto, who was a little stunned, and hesitated. The other hand took the hand of Makoto Uchiha, who was still stunned, and ignored the others, and walked directly to the street that had just been established. Uchiha Makoto, who was holding Yechin's small hand, instantly came back to his senses, and then looked at Ju Shina with some nervousness. Seeing that Ju Shinai glanced at her meaningfully, she quickly lowered her head, did not dare to look at Ju Shinai, and let Yechin take her away. So envious, Red Bean behind him, looking at the three people in front, especially Kushina and Uchiha Makoto, with a face full of envy. It's really enviable to have such a powerful, handsome, and golden rich boyfriend. Okay, don't be like a little grudge, let's go, let's take a look at the block built by Yechin Sr. Red looked at the appearance of the Red Bean, pulled a smile and spoke. However, when his eyes turned to Kushina and Uchiha Makoto in front of him, there was also an envious look in his eyes. Unlike in the original book, Red's father did not die under the Nine Tails Rebellion. And according to her father's story, she knew that the reason why her father could survive Sunset Junhong could survive. Or thanks to the night morning. Alas, it looks like I'm going to work hard. Red Do sighed and followed the three of them with Sunset Hong. Strive for what? Looking back at the Sunset Red, I looked at the Red Bean with some puzzlement. Strive to become the third lady of the Thousand Hands clan. Hongdu looked at Hongdao with a grin. When Shi Raihong heard this, her eyes widened and she looked at her good girlfriend incredulously. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm just for the good of the Thousand Hands clan. Hongdu still had a smile on his face. Leaned into Sunset Hong's ear and said, Look, I said it all. Yechin seniors want to revive the Thousand Hands clan. Relying on the eldest sister's head alone is not enough. You see, now even Sister Makoto has been taken. The eldest sister didn't say anything, which means that the eldest sister also acquiesced to this matter, and there was the first one, so it could be the second, right? Quote. When Hongdu said this, there was suddenly a look of resentment in his eyes. If I become the wife of the Thousand Hands clan, Senior Yechin will definitely help me kill that fool, right? Quote. Hong looked at the good girlfriend with a murderous face at this time, and suddenly felt that she really didn't seem to know her completely. Go. Sarutobi looked at the villagers of Konoha village, followed Yechin and others. Hulula walked into the new area, spit out a word with a gloomy face, and then turned and left. Antoine Zhang and the others didn't say anything, and followed the ape flying sun chop and left the place. Morning. How come there is still such a big place without houses? Is it that chakra is not enough? Quote. Ju Shinai was pulled by Yechin and walked into Shinji, looking at the rows of shops on both sides with installed doors along the way, and the smile on his face was not broken. However, when she saw that in the middle of the block, there was still a large area that was still bare and without any buildings, she couldn't help but look at Yechin and asked. No, this is where I deliberately stayed. Yechin smiled and looked at the open space in front of him. Huh, why did you set aside such a large vacant lot? Ju Shinai asked suspiciously. Uchiha Makoto on the side, as well as Red Bean, and Uchiha Fugaku and others, heard Yechin's words, and they all looked at Yechin one after another. Hehe, I plan to build a comprehensive square in this place. Seeing everyone's doubts in the morning, Yechin said with a faint smile. Comprehensive Plaza. When everyone heard this, they were even more puzzled. Good. Yechin nodded, looked at the open space and said, the so-called comprehensive square. To put it simply, in this comprehensive square, you can buy things, watch movies, have fun, and work here. Quote. In fact, Yechin has a lot of complaints about this Hokage world. I don't know if it's because of chakra. The world's technology tree doesn't know what it's like. In this world, there are washing machines, there are rice cookers, there are cinemas, and even computers. However, I don't know what the reason is. The people here live the same life as the footpot chicken people in ancient times. Therefore, Yechin plans to wait for the end of this place to see if he can find some talents and research the network, mobile phone and other things in his previous life. Have to say, as Yechin gained strength, his ambition as a traverser slowly showed. Shikaku saw it right. Yechin does have very big ambitions. And this ambition, one is buried in the heart as a traverser, and the second is seduced by the system. Not only does he want to overthrow the reign of the ape flying sun, he also wants to overturn the system of this world. Like what daimyo appointed Naruto and controlled the fate of ninjas, all of them will kill me. What kind of garbage rule is this? An ant with no strength at all, dares to point fingers at an elephant. Without thinking about it, he stepped on it to death. And if Yechin wants to change, then money and people cannot be less. Therefore, before Yechin could completely turn his face with the ape flying sun, he had to find a way to obtain a lot of money and cultivate talents in order to prepare for the next step. Ju Shinai and the others listened to Yi Chen's description of the comprehensive square. Although they still didn't understand it very well, they probably understood something. Without any more nonsense, he came to the clearing left behind and began to seal again. Mu done. King Kong Jiao Mu, 4 pillars family art. Boom, boom. The ground began to shake, and then, under everyone's gaze, a large gray, metallic and oval-shaped, 5-story building rose from the ground. In front of this large building, a large vacant lot was left as a square. On the square, rows of trees, flowers and plants emerged from the ground, adding a bit of life to this large building. Done. Yechin clapped his hands, looked at the building in front of him, nodded with satisfaction, and then, as if thinking of something, his hands made a seal again. Immediately afterwards, at the top of the building, a huge signboard appeared. And on this signboard, several big words appeared. Wanda Comprehensive Shopping Plaza. Hehe, please call me Thousand Hands Johnline in the future. A small goal or something, little meaning. After Yechin satisfied the evil taste in his heart, he turned his head to look at the stunned Ju Shinai and the others. Go, show you how big I am. Yechin smiled slightly, took Ju Shinai, Makoto's little hand again, and walked towards Wanda. 3 hours later, everyone left the Wanda Square and came to the newly built street again. I have to say that Ju Shinai and others were shocked in their hearts when they saw a building like Wanda Square for the first time, which was different from this era. And then listen to the planning of Wanda Plaza in detail in the morning of the night. Uchiha Fugaku, Hinata, and Shikahisa all had their eyes glowing with essence. These people are all heads of a clan, managing the big and small things in the clan, and naturally have a certain insight into business. When they thoroughly understood the business model of this comprehensive square, they seemed to see a mountain of gold in front of their eyes. So, these guys began to lose face. Directly told Yechin that the store they wanted would choose the one in Wanda. For this, Yechin answered without hesitation. In this way, these families are completely in the same boat as Yechin. A few people walked out of Wanda Square, and strolled around these 2 streets for a while, looking at the villagers of Konoha, one by one, with curious eyes on their faces, strolling around these 2 streets, while discussing with Ju Shinai about recruiting staff, management problems and so on. Unconsciously, everyone is almost out of these 2 streets. Yechin, these 2 neighborhoods already belong to us, or will you give them a new name? Ju Shinai looked at the street where people were coming and going at this time, although there were no shops yet, and suddenly looked at Yechin and spoke. Yes, Yechin, you choose a new name. I see that the name of Wanda Plaza you took is good, or is it called Wanda Street? Uchiha Fugaku nodded on the side and gave a suggestion. Yechin looked at Uchiha Fugaku, Nima, Wanji with a black line on his face. Why isn't it called Rotten Street? When several people around heard that they wanted to name these 2 streets, they were also interested. The names were varied, and Yechen's face became darker and darker. Especially the little Nizi of red beans, came directly to a night red bean street. I don't know, I thought it was all red beans. In the end, Yechen really couldn't help it, waved his big hand, and said to everyone, in the future, this place will be called Chinatown. Quote, in the blink of an eye, half a year has passed. During this time, Ju Shina and Makoto because of the affairs of Chinatown and Wanda Plaza. Busy with your feet. After all, the original Senju clan, because the Yan clan almost died on the battlefield, some side branches, clansmen without ninja talent, were arranged to completely integrate into Konoha and became civilians. In addition, Yechen's strength at that time was insufficient, and he was worried that he would be beheaded by Ape Fairy and others to arrange spies to disperse all the people in the clan, leaving only Ju Shinai and Yechen to live. And doing so leads to, now because of the lack of manpower, even Ju Shinai, who has multiple shadow avatars, is a little busy dealing with things in Wanda and Chinatown. After all, there is a specialization in the art industry, so it is okay for Ju Shinai to collect rent and manage money. However, to deal with it clearly and manage things in one square and two streets, this is a little difficult for her. However, fortunately, there is also the help of several families such as Uchiha, Hinata, and Inuga Butterfly. Otherwise, I don't know what kind of mess it will be. Compared with the busyness of Kushina and Makoto, the night morning is much more comfortable. He was on the side to make suggestions, and he didn't care about anything else, and when he was fine, he smacked the sun and teased little Naruto. Moreover, since Yechen rebranded the nanny, the worker, and little Naruto did not need him to take care of him, and the village did not give him a position, when he was panicked, he wandered around Konoha village, in the eyes of others. The Yorichin-sama who once saved Konoha, the hope of the Senju clan, and the tailed beast, is now degenerate. It became a famous street slipper in Konoha village. In fact, has the night really become a street skate? Well, in fact, it really is. It's not that Yechen really degenerate. Rather, he really couldn't think of anything else to do right now. Today, although he has the support of several families such as Uchiha, Hinata, and Inuga Butterfly, he also has a hen who is about to lay golden eggs, Wanda and Chinatown. However, if he wants to directly overthrow the rule of Sarutobi now, it is still unlikely that he will take over Konoha. Unless it is directly and forcefully overturned. However, the old guy of Ape Flying Sun is not so easy to be pinched. Who knows if this guy has any hidden cards waiting for him? No more. He wanted to take over Konoha, the head of one of the 5 ninja villages. It's not a mess. Therefore, before the time comes, Yechen will not make a tough move. And the Ape Flying Sun / they are also very jealous of Yechen's strength, plus Yechen has already received the support of Hinata, Uchiha, Inuga Butterfly, these Konoha big ninjas, they dare not make a rash move. This leads to, a balance was formed between the Night Morning and the Ape Flying Sun. Therefore, for a while, he and the Ape Flying Sun chop, there will be no trouble in a short time, and Yechen does not want to directly manage business affairs, so he directly relaxed. As for cultivation, he wanted to cultivate. However, now that his strength has reached this point, cultivating ninjutsu has not improved him much. He wanted to cultivate the forbidden art on the Book of Seals, but the Book of Seals was in the hands of Ape Flying Sun, and he wanted to learn. It is impossible for apes to fly to the sun. It's ridiculous to say. Most of the forbidden techniques on the Book of Seals were studied by the Thousand Hands, but now, as the only male member of the Thousand Hands clan, he was not even qualified to touch them. Unable to cultivate the forbidden art on the Book of Seals, Yechen started the idea of immortal arts. And if you want to cultivate immortal arts, Yechen knows that there are only 3 places where you can cultivate. Needless to say, these 3 places are the 3 holy places of Miaomu Mountain, Dragon Cave and Wet Bone Forest. However, he did not sign a contract with these 3 holy places, and he could not find the location of the 3 holy places at all. In desperation, he could only send someone to find Tsunade. But Tsunade left Konoha and traveled through the ninja world. It was always her who contacted Yakin unilaterally, and every contact was for money, and he didn't know where Tsunade's location was. As a result, Yechen's immortal cultivation was also delayed. He actually wanted to go around the ninja world and look for Tsunade by the way. However, he was afraid that after he left, Ape Flying Sun would cut these guys to make some kind of moth, so he could only do it. This day, lying on a rattan chair in the morning, while snorting the sun, his mouth was like a river, flickering. Oh no, he is talking to Koikya, Hong, and Red Bean about the origin of war and the way to end it and achieve peace. During this time, Yechin was idle and had nothing to do, so he pulled Uchiha Itachi, who often came with the second pillar, and talked about the theory of great unification and achieving peace. As usual on this day, after taking a sip of tea, Yechin looked at Uchiha Itachi, who looked at him with feverish eyes in his eyes and said, "Therefore, to sum up the above, in order to achieve true peace, it is necessary to unify all the countries and villages into a large collective, and there must be only one voice in this collective." After speaking, Yechin looked at the little guy Uchiha Itachi. At this time, Uchiha Itachi, after listening to Yechin's words, hugged little Sasuke and fell into deep thought. I don't know how this little guy's brain grows, it's just a little big, and he thinks about war and peace all day. Looking at Uchiha Itachi's contemplative appearance, and then looking at the dozing on the side, the little head red little by little, and the red beans, Yechin sighed, children can't be taught. Quote. After taking a sip of tea, Yechin looked at a big tree in the yard and said indifferently, "Aren't you tired after squatting on the tree for so long? Come down and drink some water." Quote. Yi Chen's words instantly interrupted Uchiha's musings. Red and Red Bean drowsied and woke up instantly, vigilantly looking at the big tree in the yard. Swoosh! A black shadow flew out of the tree and landed in front of several people in the morning of the night. Brother Shuishui. Seeing the person coming, Uchiha exclaimed, "Oh, are you just a momentary stopper?" Quote. Looking at the young man in front of him, who was about 17 or 18 years old, wearing a black tights and carrying a short knife behind his back, Yechin was a little surprised. Uchiha Shisui, the life mentor of the original Uchiha Itachi, in order to gain the trust of Sarutobi Hinata and others, prevented the Uchiha clan from breaking out into war with Konoha. Stupidly told the super pupil technique of Betionjin to Ape Flying Sun / and Tuan Zhang, and finally Tuan Zhang said a heart-wrenching word, and finally gagged. This also led to Konoha's relationship with Uchiha, an even worse culprit. Yechin Sr. Sorry to disturb hastily. Quote. Uchiha smiled at Uchiha Itachi, and then respectfully saluted Yi Chen. Oh, did you come to me for something? Quote. During this time of night and morning, I also went to the Uchiha family. For Uchiha Shuishui, this half-legendary character in the original work, Yechin naturally inquired and thought about wooing. However, when he learned from Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Shisui joined the Dark Ministry when he was 11 years old. Yechin lost interest in Uchiha to stop the water. Although Yechin boasted to Sarutobi that he was the strongest Hokage, he was very disdainful. But his ape Flying Sun chopping this mouth is strong and fiery, and he is still very impressed. As far as the ability of the Ape Flying Sun to slash that suddenly person, in the entire ninja world, only the big snake pill can compare with him at present. Well, the reason why it is for now, it is because little Naruto has not grown up yet. And a stupid white sweet like Uchiha Shisui, who has been in the dark department for so long, to say that he was not crippled by the Ape Flying Sun. I don't believe it when I beat me to death in the morning. Therefore, instead of pulling a time bomb, it is better to fool the Uchiha ferret who has not yet been slashed by the Ape Flying Sun. Uchiha Shuishui heard Yechin's unsalty and indifferent attitude, and he didn't care. He still looked at Yechin respectfully and said, "Some time ago, I heard Itachi say something, Yechin's peace theory. There are some places I don't understand very well, so I want to ask Yechin-senpai." Quote. Oh, when Yechin heard this, he was slightly interested. Looking at this Uchiha stop the water, it seems that he didn't come to ask for advice, but came to smash the field. But now he's panicking with boredom. And don't mind wrestling with him. What don't you understand? Tell me about it. Yechin looked at Uchiha with an interested look on his face. Listening to Itachi, in the theory of Yechin's predecessors, the origin of war comes from people's desires and improper allocation of resources, and this theory is very similar to me, Uchiha Shisui said at the beginning, and his tone seemed to recognize Yechin's words very much, but immediately, the words changed, and his eyes looked directly at Yechin and said, "However, what Yechin Sr. said, I don't agree with the unified theory." Quote. Oh, tell us what you think. Yechin still looked at Uchiha with a smile on his face. The surrounding Uchiha Itachi, Red, and Red Bean did not make a sound at this time, quietly watching the conversation between the two. Itachi, in particular, has followed Uchiha Fugaku to the battlefield since he was 4 years old and has seen the cruelty of war. In his small heart, all kinds of thoughts would appear to haunt him. Until he met Yechin, he seemed to have found the answer he wanted here. However, when the answer he got from Yechin was shared with his friend, Uchiha Shisui, he was a little dazed again. Because, although his good friend, Uchiha Shisui, recognized Yechin's theory of the origin of war, he questioned the theory of unified peace. It made him not know which one to listen to. It's good now. Night, morning, and stop water face to face to discuss this question. You should be able to get the correct answer today, right? Yechin Senpai, you said that if you want to achieve true peace, you must unify all the countries and all the shinobi villages, right? Uchiha asked as he looked at Yechin seriously. Yechin nodded, his face unchanged. Not bad. Quote, so, Uchiha Shisui frowned, staring at Yechin's eyes with a pair of dead eyes. Can I understand that Lord Yechin wants to start a war against the entire ninja world, and conquer all countries, villages, and all the countries and villages by means of war? Quote, Uchiha stopped the water when he said this, and his tone was a little urgent. Senior Yechin, I know that your strength is strong, even the tailed beast is not your opponent, and you may be even stronger in the future. In the future, if you start a war, with your strength, you may really be able to unify the entire ninja world. But, Senior Yechin, have you ever thought that war brings death, and if you start such a huge war, how many people will die? How many families will be torn apart? Quote, Uchiha stopped the water and said at the end, his eyes became scarlet, and in his pupils, Senkei Guyu slowly rotated. This is even the Sango Jade writing wheel eye is opened. If Yechin-sen really wants to start such a war, then, even if I know that I am no match for Yechin Sr., I will gamble my life to stop this catastrophe. After Uchiha stopped the water and finished speaking, the momentum of the whole person completely burst out, like a sharp sword, straight towards the night morning. The three people, Weasel, Red and Red Bean, were completely stunned and did not dare to move. They did not dare to move. On the one hand, they were frightened by the momentum of Uchiha to stop the water. On the one hand, the amount of information contained in Uchiha's words is too large. What did they hear? Yechin Sr. actually wants to start a war. Or to all countries, the war in Shinobi. How is this possible? HMPH. Yechin snorted coldly. Immediately afterwards, Uchiha stopped the water and disappeared instantly, and the three of them breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately, one by one, they looked at Yechin. Facing the gazes of the four, Yechin suddenly smiled. Immediately, the lazy sheep again took the tea, took a sip, and slowly spoke, let me tell you a story. Quote, when several people heard this, although they were puzzled, they still raised their spirits. In the ancient East, there was a continent called Kyushu. Above these 9 states, they were divided into more than a dozen countries, and subsequently, these dozen countries fought for years, attacked each other, and displaced civilians and suffered unspeakably. This situation continued for many years, and in the end, only 7 of the dozen countries on this continent remained. Similarly, these 7 countries are also attacking each other, and no one will submit to the other. It was not until a country called Dokkan, and the appearance of a man, who worked hard for several generations to sweep the world and destroy the 6 kingdoms, ending the war that lasted for hundreds of years. And when he wiped out the 6 kingdoms, there were people who said the same thing as you, saying that he was cruel, that he ignored the world, lightly opened the sword soldiers, and involved civilians in the war, saying that he was a tyrant of the ages. Quote, when Yechin said this, he looked at a few people and smiled. Guess how he answered? Quote, at this time, several people who stopped the water had been completely substituted by Kyushu in Yechin's description, and when they heard Yechin's question, they shook their heads in unison, and their faces were full of curiosity. Yechin stood up at this time, he turned his back to nature, raised his head slightly and said slowly. He said, unify the 6 countries, unify the world, book with the same text, car on the same track, unified weights and measures, and forge the Great Wall to town Kyushu. Quote, after Yi Chen finished speaking, he looked at the few people who were shocked, and said with the same admiration on his face, he also said that he unified the world and killed many people, but the 7 countries have been attacking each other for hundreds of years. What is the death of this person? As the saying goes, long pain is not as good as short pain. As long as this battle is completed, the world will be one, the 6 countries will not distinguish each other, and the world will no longer attack each other, and the world will be peaceful. Quote. So, do you still think my unified theory is wrong? Boom. Uchiha stopped the water. Uchiha ferrets, red and red beans. After listening to the story told by Yi Chen, they were all stunned in place. In front of their eyes, it seemed that a heroic man in a black robe appeared, who was commanding thousands of troops and horses to end the chaotic times, so that the people on the Kyushu continent would no longer suffer from war. Is long pain better than short pain? Uchiha stopped the water and looked at Yechen with a somewhat complicated expression. And Uchiha Itachi looked at Yechen with adoration on his face, as if he saw the king of the 6 kingdoms on Yechen's body. That's cool. Hongdu held his small face and looked at Yechen a little crazy. Red did not speak, pursed her lips and was silent, but a pair of eyes like rubies looked straight at Yechen. How? Still think my theory is wrong? Yechen still looked at Uchiha with a smile on his face and asked. Uchiha stopped the water and shook his head. I don't know. Quote. After a pause, he continued, maybe that's right. After all, I haven't heard of that Kyushu continent. Quote. When Yi Chen heard this, the whole person was stunned, and then, a little embarrassed. This is not important, the important thing is that in this story, do you agree with the unified concept of that great Qin king? Quote. As a smart person, even if Uchiha has not studied Chinese culture. But it can also be analyzed that the king in the night and morning story, if he really achieves that step, the world can really be peaceful. After all, the enemy is gone. If you want to break out of war, you can only fight your own people. Not to mention, Uchiha has analyzed the water really thoroughly. The history of Washa Kyushu is not all about their own people beating their own people. Don't say that the 5 nonsense, the Tartar into the customs, it is all made by their own people. Phew. Uchiha exhaled deeply, and then turned around. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I still stick to my philosophy. Quote. Saying that, the whole person turned into a black shadow and disappeared. Ha, the people of the Uchiha family are really dead brains. Yechen looked at the direction where Uchiha stopped the water and left, and pouted. Uchiha Itachi. Senior Yechen, does the Kyushu continent you just said really exist? Hongdu watched Uchiha stop the water and left, came directly to Yechen's side, hugged Yechen's arm, and asked curiously. How do you answer this? Is it possible to say that existence is existence, but not in this world? Of course, Yechen couldn't hit himself in the face, so he solemnly looked at Hongdu and said, it does exist, but it is far east, and it is a very long time ago. Well, it is older than the Warring States period, and history can no longer verify that. Quote. Does it really exist? Hongdu said with adoration on his face. Senior Yechen will definitely be as great as that king in the future. Quote. That's a must. Yechen nodded with a smile. Red looked at Yechen with some suspicion. She is not as easy to deceive as Hongdu, because, for the Kyushu continent that Yechen said, there are many doubts about whether Yechen's words exist. However, whether it exists or not, none of this matters. What matters is the unified system of that king. Yechen and Hongdu sat down again and chatted for a while. 10 minutes later, Sasuke in Uchiha Itachi's arms woke up. Helpless, Uchiha Itachi could only take Sasuke back first. Unconsciously, another half an hour passed, and Red Bean also took their leave and left. After several people left, Yechen entered the house, called the nanny over, asked her to change Naruto's diaper, and after feeding, entered the kitchen, intending to cook personally and make some delicious food for Ju Shinai. However, Yechen had just entered the kitchen, and a red figure suddenly rushed in from outside, and at the same time, Ju Shinai's roar, "What are you doing? Let go of Naruto." Quote. As Ju Shinai's voice sounded, it was the cry of little Naruto. Yechen heard the voice, quickly walked out of the kitchen, and looked at the situation in the hall. After seeing the situation in the hall that night, the whole person was a little confused and didn't know what happened. I saw that in the hall, Ju Shinai was holding the crying little Naruto, constantly comforting, and at the same time, a pair of angry eyes stared straight at the nanny who was sitting on the ground. What's going on? Yechen came over, looked at Naruto in Shinai's arms, and then looked at the nanny sitting on the ground and asked, "How did you look at Naruto? Naruto was almost strangled by her, do you know?" Shinai looked at Yi-chen coming over, and it was directly a split head and covered face. And Yi-chen heard this, frowned, looked at the nanny, his eyes narrowed slightly, a momentum, pressed towards the nanny, "Say, why do you want to do this? Did the ape flying sun / instruct you to do this?" Quote. Facing the night morning, the nanny was uncomfortable. But as if he was a dead man, he looked at Yi-chen senselessly, and then, he looked at Naruto in Shinai's arms, his eyes were full of resentment. It's him, it's this monster, it's that it killed my child, husband, I'm going to kill this monster to avenge them. Quote. This nanny said, but ignored it, rushed towards Shinai. No, it should be said that she rushed towards the little Naruto in Shinai's arms. HMPH. Yi-chen snorted coldly, and then the nanny slumped on the ground. Looking at the nanny sitting on the ground, Yi-chen frowned. This nanny, he was very sure that it was an ordinary person, but such an ordinary person, like a dead man, completely disregarding his own life, also wanted to kill Naruto. This plot, it's the same as in the original. In the original book, Naruto was also almost killed by a nanny when he was a child. But now, he and Shina have adopted Naruto, but unexpectedly, there is still such a scene. Ape flying sun, Konoha high level, these people are simply beasts, even such a young child, do not let go, obviously know that this is a child of Watergate, he still does this, disgusting, ah. Just as Yi-chen was pondering, Shinai on the side couldn't help but scold angrily. Shinai, what's going on? When Yi-chen heard this, he quickly asked. Phew. Shinai exhaled a long breath, and then said hatefully, I don't know when, a message circulated in the village, saying that Naruto is the incarnation of the nine-tailed demon fox and was adopted by us. When I heard the news just now, I suddenly thought that Suzuki's husband and children were all killed during the Nine Tails Rebellion. And Suzuki is just an ordinary person, if you are negligent for a moment, Suzuki will have trouble transferring hatred to Naruto. So I rushed back, but I didn't expect, worried, that it really happened. As soon as I got home, I saw Suzuki covering Naruto's mouth and pinching his neck. Quote. Phew. Yi-chen listened to Shinai's words, and a flame also rose in his heart. Nima, these fools really transferred all their hatred to such a small baby as the original did, making everyone resent a baby who was still in its infancy. Ape flying sun chopping is really morning, or we. Looking at Yi-chen full of anger, Shinai also had a fire in her heart, and she also knew Yi-chen's plan, but she really didn't want to wait now. These fools are just too much. Yi-chen heard Shinai's words and knew what Shinai wanted to say. However, at this time, Yi-chen calmed down. He looked at Shinai and said, if we do that now, we will fall for the ape flying sun to kill them. Now although Uchiha, Hinata, and Inuga Butterfly support me, there are still many clans and civilian ninjas who are slashing towards the ape flying sun. Do it now, even if I kill the ape flying sun, Konoha will not be Konoha. Quote. So what now? Do they allow them to smear little Naruto? Treat the son of a hero like a monster. Quote. And, don't forget, now that the whole of Konoha knows that we adopted little Naruto, if it goes on, the reputation you left when dealing with the Nine Tails will also be cancelled. Even, for a long time. Those idiots may transfer hatred to you. Quote. Shinai forcibly endured the anger in his heart and said very dissatisfied. She really can't wait to skin those old and cramps now. I've never seen such shameless. Knowing that Naruto is the son of the fourth generation of Hokage, the descendant of the hero. Don't let the identity be exposed. It's really chilling to do such a show now. Otherwise, we'll reveal Naruto's life. After Shinai was angry for a while, his heart moved, and he looked at Yi-chen and proposed. When Yi-chen heard this, he frowned, pondered for a moment, and then shook his head and said, no, now Naruto is at the center of this public opinion. If we directly expose Naruto's life now, I am afraid it will not only have the opposite effect. Instead, it will let the ape flying sun chop those people grab the handle, saying that we fabricated facts, and then we will be passive. After all, when the Nine Tails were sealed, just the two of us, ape flying sun, Tuonzo, and some dark parts knew. Quote. As Yoshin said, now that it has just spread in Konoha, Naruto is the nine-tailed demon fox, and the hatred of the villagers is all on Naruto. If it was now said that Naruto was the son of the fourth generation, Yoshin would not believe it, and the villagers who were angry would believe it. In fact, at this point, whether Naruto is really an incarnation of the Nine Tails is no longer important to those villagers. Because he just wants an object to vent. These guys are really vicious. Ju Shinai, who has calmed down, naturally understands the power of Yechin when she hears Yechin's analysis, but because of this, she hates Ape Flying Sun even more for slashing these people. I'm also the Nine Tails Pillar Force, and I'm also your girlfriend. Why did they set their sights on little Naruto? These fools are simply not human. Ju Shina looked at the little Naruto in his arms with distressed eyes, still hanging with tear stains, and fell into a deep sleep. Alas, Yechin sighed and said slowly, I'm afraid they also thought about pulling you into the water, but when dealing with the Nine Tails that day, many people saw that you made a great effort, and many people were saved by you. In this case, even if those villagers are stupid, they will not believe the rumor that you are a nine-tailed demon fox. Quote, it's really ruthless. Ju Shinai was so angry that she didn't want to say anything more, and the shamelessness of Ape Flying to kill these people over this time really refreshed her cognition. Poor little Naruto, is it okay to let him grow up in such an environment? Ju Shinai gently wiped the tear tracks on Naruto's face, and her eyes were full of distress. Heaven has sent great authority to the people of Sri Lanka, working their bones, starving their bodies, and becoming adults. Little Naruto has experienced this since he was a child, and his childhood may not be very good, but this can also temper his will. Moreover, the truth always has a day under broad daylight, and how much these people hate little Naruto now, when his identity is exposed, he will turn into a dragon. Quote, Yechin looked at the sleeping Naruto and said unhurriedly. In fact, Yechin wants to break these rumors. It is still very simple. As far as the low-level means of spreading rumors, can you play the crosser who came from the information explosion? Isn't this a joke? And the reason why Yechin doesn't crack these rumors. It was he who knew that when everyone thought he was an evil man, hated by his enemies for decades. One day, they suddenly discovered that this person who had been hated by them for so long was not only not an evil person, but also their benefactor. And they actually scolded their benefactor for so long and hated it for so long. So what will these people think in their hearts? I am afraid that most people will feel very guilty in their hearts, blame themselves, and want to double up on the benefactor. And what kind of anger will these people erupt if they expose the guy who led them to be evil and enemy? I'm afraid that these guilty people will tear that guy to shreds, right? Moreover, Yokuchin was actually a little worried about Naruto's growth in his heart. In the original book, Naruto grew up isolated and even hated by everyone around him. But in such an environment, Naruto not only did not blacken, but reacted to develop a resolute character, which was very admired even by the knight. Although such a personality may be the reason why he is the reincarnation of Asura Chakra, Yakin likes Naruto's resolute personality. He also hopes that in this world that he has changed, Naruto still has such a character. Because, he was really afraid that after Naruto grew up in a different environment, he would become the same Naruto as in the original book Infinite Moon Reading. Therefore, for various reasons, Yorichin did not use the methods of manipulating public opinion in his previous life to change Naruto's growth environment. So what now? Naruto is like this now, I don't worry about asking someone to go home again. Quote. Ju Shinai glanced at the nanny lying on the ground. Yechin frowned and thought for a while, then sighed and said to Ju Shinai, you will post a message in the village tomorrow, just say that you have been captured by the Thousand Hands clan, integrate into the clansmen in the village, and let them return to the Thousand Hands clan. Quote. When Ju Shinai heard Yi Chen's words, the whole thing was shocked, and he couldn't believe it. Chen, you're not kidding, are you? There is even a recall of clansmen who have left the family. Once the first generation of adults said that the clansmen who integrated into the village must no longer call themselves in the name of a Thousand Hands, and now you are doing this against the orders of the first generation of adults. Quote. As a legend of the Thousand Hands clan, coupled with the special identity of the Thousand Hands pillar, the order he gave is the ancestral motto of the Thousand Hands clan. And Yechin now wants to violate the ancestral precepts, which is a big disobedience in the eyes of outsiders. Is there another way for us now? Yechin shrugged helplessly, and then said with a somewhat sad face, I'm afraid, when the first master gave the order to let some of the Senju clan integrate into Konoha, he would not have thought that the Senju clan would fall into this way, right? Quote. Okay, I'll arrange it tomorrow. When Ju Shinai heard this, he sighed long in his heart and nodded. The next morning, the news that the child adopted by Lord Yoshin and Lord Kushina turned out to be the incarnation of the Nine Tails completely detonated the entire Konoha. When everyone heard the news, one by one, they were filled with righteous indignation, and their eyes were full of hatred. Have you heard? The child adopted by Lord Yechin turned out to be the embodiment of the demon fox. Quote. Who doesn't know this news now? I knew yesterday. Quote. Yes, I also heard about it yesterday. I really didn't expect it. That demon fox is not dead, moreover, it was adopted by Lord Yechin. But no, alas, I really don't know why Lord Yechin keeps this demon fox. It killed so many people that I would say that this demon fox should not be alive. Quote. That's right, my child was killed by the demon fox, I want to avenge my child, that demon fox must die. Yes, my father also died because of that demon fox, and I also want revenge. Don't be impulsive, don't be impulsive. Now that demon fox is in the hands of Lord Yechin keeps it, maybe Lord Yechin has his intentions. There is a fart intention. Yechin has the power of Mu Duan, his girlfriend is a Uzumaki clan who is good at sealing, and, I heard that Uchiha Makoto of the Uchiha clan also often goes in and out of the Senju clan. According to me, Yechin keeps that demon fox with bad intentions. Don't forget who controls the demon fox that day. Oh my god, it can't be, right? How could Lord Yechin be such a person? Quote. How is it impossible? Otherwise, what did he keep that demon fox and bring it home to raise? He just has a bad intention. Maybe one day he is in a bad mood, he will release the demon fox. Quote. No, that demon fox must not stay, let's go find Naruto-sama. That's right, let's go find Naruto-sama. With the news that the nine-tailed demon fox was taken in by Yechin, it spread in Konoha village. The hatred in the hearts of the villagers of Konoha village was completely led to Naruto by the ape flying sun. At the same time, because of these hatreds, the reputation of the night and morning fell extremely quickly, even under the guidance of people with intentions. Yechin once resisted the two-tailed beasts and saved the entire Konoha, but was also blinded by hatred and subconsciously forgotten by the villagers. Such a scene corresponds to an idiom. What a miserable heart. Human nature is simply too complex. With the villagers of Konoha village, hatred for Naruto, and dissatisfaction with Yakin. They did not dare to storm the clan land of the Thousand Hands clan. After all, the power of the night and morning, everyone had seen it, no one dared to touch the tiger's fart. Share. Therefore, the angry villagers began to gather towards the Hokage building, wanting Naruto-sama to come forward, hand over the demon fox, and execute the demon fox in front of everyone. In the face of so many villagers' petitions, Sarutobi knew that it was time for him to perform again. Sarutobi stood on the roof of the Hokage building with a fake look, looking at the dense, angry villagers below, and he was very proud in his heart. But on his face, with an amiable look, he persuaded to everyone. There is no need to talk about the specifics. Anyway, the hidden probably means that there is a night and morning, and it will not be harmful to Konoha, etc. Ape Flying Sun chopped the calf for a long time. This is not to become Naruto or a demon fox, nor did it explicitly say that the night morning is not. And the villagers of Konoha village, listening to the unfathomable words of the ape flying sun, some clouds and fog, few people understood what he really wanted to express. Anyway, when these villagers of the rushing Hokage building returned, they only remembered a few things. That is, Lord Naruto is really close to the people, and the matter of the nine-tailed demon fox in the Thousand Hands clan may be true, and Lord Naruto may have some scruples. It is not good to go to the Thousand Hands clan to catch the nine-tailed demon fox. In short, they came to find the ape flying sun, but they didn't get any results, and they went back in confusion. And just when Ape Fei Richo watched gradually leave the crowd, a faint smug smile appeared on his face. A message that once again detonated the entire Konoha. At the same time, it also made the ape who was a little proud in his heart fly to the sun, and the whole person was stunned in place. The Senju clan wants to recall the clansmen who once integrated into Konoha. As soon as this news came out, it was like pouring a basin of cold water into the original boiling oil pot and directly frying the pan. Quick, follow me to the Thousand Hands clan, what does he want to do in the morning? The ape who came back to his senses flew to his senses, facing the three of Tuanzang, suppressed a trace of uneasiness in his heart, and spoke. How dare Yechen disobey the order of the first adult, he simply doesn't put the first adult in his eyes. After Tuanzang heard the news, his eyes were also a little flustered, and he followed behind the ape flying Sunchop and roared in a low voice. And Mito Menyon, turning to sleep Kaharu looked at the strange appearance of the two, looked at each other, and doubts filled their hearts. When the ape flying sun slashed people and rushed to the Senju clan, he saw that the originally cold and deserted Senju clan was surrounded by the villagers of Konoha village. Of course, these villagers did not come to make trouble, but came to see the bustle. From the road given way by the villagers, into the clan land of the Thousand Hands clan, the ape flying sun chopped a few people and instantly saw hundreds, old and young, standing in a clearing. And at the front of the crowd, Yechen was gloomy with a gloomy face, bowing his head and silent. On the side, Ju Shinai, Hong, Red Bean, Uchiha Makoto, Uchiha Fugaku and several other people who had befriended Yechen were also serious and silent. Ju Shinai's face was even redder, which was obviously angry. Yechen, what the hell do you mean? You actually dared to disobey the order of the first generation of adults and recall the Senju clan people who have integrated into Konoha, have you still put the first generation adults in your eyes? Quote. As soon as he came closer, before the ape flying sun slash could speak, Tuanzang jumped out and questioned towards Yechen. Yi Chen, who had been gloomy with a gloomy face and lowered his head, suddenly raised his head and stared coldly at Tuanzang. In an instant, Tuanzang closed his mouth. Phew. Ape Fei Richo took a deep breath and looked at Yechen and said, Yechen, the order of the First Lord. Ape Flying Sun, I need an explanation. Ape Flying Sun, an explanation is needed. Quote. In the name of the current patriarch of the Senju clan. At this time, in the morning of the night, even Naruto-sama stopped calling. Calling the name of the ape flying sun, you can imagine how angry Yechen was at this time. Daring, how can you be rude to Lord Naruto? You. Ape Fei Ri beside Xiaochun, who was beside him, heard Yi Chen's words, jumped out directly, and was about to reprimand Yi Chen. However, Sarutobi waved his hand and stopped Xiaochun from sleeping, with a puzzled look on his face, looked at Yechen and asked, Patriarch Yechen, what do you mean by this? I don't understand. Quote. You don't understand. Yechen narrowed his eyes and watched the ape flying sun. Ape flying sun chopper still looked dazed. Seeing this, Yi Chen directly compared a thumbs up to the ape flying sun, you are powerful. Quote. Ape flying sun chopper still looked unchanged, looking like I didn't know anything. Well, if our Hokage-sama doesn't understand, then let you understand. Yechen exhaled deeply and turned his head to point to the old and young standing in the clearing. Dear Naruto-sama, I'm afraid you should know who these are, right? Yechen suppressed his anger, but with a stiff smile on his face, he watched the ape fly to the sun. Sarutobi looked at those people with a pensive expression, and then suddenly realized, could it be that they are the Senju clan members who have integrated into Konoha village? Quote. Good. Yechen nodded, and then, like a beast about to become angry, roared, they are the Senju people who were ordered by the original generation to merge into Konoha, and their descendants. However, I don't understand one thing, from the first period, to the present decades have passed, the more than 10,000 clansmen who were originally integrated into Konoha, there are only a few hundred left. Naruto-sama, I want to ask, is Konoha village more dangerous than the battlefield? Quote. This is precisely the reason for Yechen's anger. The Senju people who first integrated into Konoha are all recorded. More than 10,000 people have integrated into Konoha, but now the recalled clansmen are less than 1,000. You know, the vast majority of the Senjutsu clansmen who were integrated into Konoha at the beginning were ordinary clansmen with good refining chakra or poor ninjutsu talents. Even if there are more than 10,000 people, thousands of people are now ninjas. But so many people, after decades of multiplication, not to mention the increase in population. At least a few thousand people left, right? However, after the news came out that morning that he recalled these Senju clansmen who had integrated into Konoha village, he was dumbfounded. The entire Konoha was full, and there were only a few 100,000 hands left, including the elderly, children, and women. Nima, there are only a few hundred people left, and if Thousand Hand Pillars know that his original decision has become like this now, I don't know if it will pop out of the coffin. The Uchiha clan on the side, the Hyuga clan, and other families who came to see the excitement, hearing Yechen's words, and then looking at the hundreds of old and weak women and children, suddenly had a feeling of sadness. Yechen, don't get angry first, there must be a misunderstanding here. Maybe most of the people of the Thousand Hands tribe in the village are living an expensive life now and are unwilling to return to their own clan. Ape Fei Richo felt the emotions of those surrounding families, and knew that if this matter was not done well today, it would be troublesome in the future. So, he was in a hurry, and quickly replied to Yi Chen. Impossible, the Senju people of Konoha village are all here. Yechen waved his hand and waved among the hundreds of thousands of clansmen. Uncle Hinata, tell our Hokage-sama about the specific situation. Quote, alas, don't you dare to be the patriarch of this uncle. An old man with gray hair, supported by a young man, walked out of the crowd and quickly saluted Yechen. Then, this old man looked at the ape-flying sun and said, Lord Hokage, the night-morning patriarch is right, now these hundreds of people are the Senju clan of the entire Konoha village. As for why we know so clearly, it is because when we came out of the Senju clan and merged into Konoha, Lord Kuruma selected a group of people from among us to record the Senju clan outside. Therefore, those of us who are outside the Thousand Hands clan, although we can no longer call ourselves the name of Thousand Hands, we are still connected. The number of clansmen, even the number of married women, the children born, is recorded. Quote, when Hinata said this, he paused for a moment, and then continued. When Lord Kuruma did this, he actually concealed it from the first adult, so this matter, except for Lord Kuruma, only those of us who are in charge of recording know about it. And Lord Kuruma did this because he was worried that the Senju clan would be completely extinct in the future, and wanted to leave some seeds for the Senju clan. At the same time, Lord Kuruma also said that if the Senju clan, one day something would go wrong. Those of us who go out can return to the Thousand Hands clan as long as we receive orders from our own clan. Quote, originally, the number of us in the foreign clan has been increasing, but since the death of Lord Kuruma, somehow, there are many clansmen who have either disappeared inexplicably, or have been attacked when they went out, or have not returned after going to the battlefield. Over the years, there are fewer and fewer of us. If it weren't for the Yechen Patriarch's recall order, I'm afraid it won't be long before all of us disappear. Quote, after Hinata finished speaking, the scene was silent. While feeling sad for these Thousand Hands in my heart, I am also lamenting the wisdom of the Thousand Hands. It is worthy of being a man who supports the Book of Seals alone, and his vision, as well as the overall situation, is simply impressive. As for the patriarchs of the other families, after listening to Hinata's words, they felt even more creepy while marveling at the Thousand Hands. Nima, these high-ranking people in Konoha are all devils, right? Even these ordinary Senju clansmen do not let go. Is it necessary for such a village to be worthy of allegiance? Originally, those families who wavered or followed the ape-flying sun chop, at this time, seeing the miserable appearance of the Thousand Hands family, they were even more sad, looking at the gaze of ape-flying sun chop and others, it was changing again and again. Seeing this, Ape Fei Ri secretly shouted that it was not good, and then, with an ugly face, he looked at Yechen and said, Patriarch Yechen, do you think that the reason why the Thousand Hand clan became like this is the reason for me? Quote, Yi Chen looked directly at the ape-flying sun, and said expressionlessly, isn't it? You are Naruto-sama, most of my clansmen are ordinary people, and there are very few opportunities to even leave the village, but that's it, the clansmen are still inexplicably gone. Naruto-sama, I want to ask, is this Konoha a village? Or a man-eating beast? Quote, phew, Ape Fei Ri exhaled a long breath, calmed himself down, looked at the family patriarchs with solemn faces around him, and the patriarchs who were terrified. He looked at Yechen and said solemnly, this is indeed my fault, I neglected the safety of the village, I will investigate this matter clearly and give everyone an explanation. Quote, HMPH. Faced with the pretext of ape-flying sun chopping, Yi Chen snorted coldly, skimmed a glance, had been gloomy face, did not open his mouth, looked at ape-flying sun chopper again. Don't bother Lord Hokage, how precious Lord Hokage's time is, I will investigate this matter myself, so many people are there at the scene, I will say it bluntly. When I find out who is dealing with my Thousand Hands clan, no matter who it is, my Thousand Hands will make him pay back in blood. Quote. Ape Flying Sun Chop and the others left, leaving the Senju clan with an ugly face. With the departure of Ape Flying Sun and the others, the people who were watching the Thousand Hands clan also left one after another. And as the matter of the Senju clan came out, the rumors that Naruto was a nine-tailed demon fox, as well as hatred, were also temporarily suppressed. When the Thousand Hands clan is only left with the Thousand Hands clan, and the night morning Jushinai. Yi Chen looked at the hundreds of Thousand Hands clan people in front of him, and said with a heavy heart, Guys, I won't say much about the past, as the current patriarch of the Thousand Hands clan, I will explain it to you. Quote. When Yi Chen said this, he paused for a moment, and then opened his arms and said, Now. As the current patriarch of the Senju clan, I declare that you will restore the name of the Senju, and at the same time, welcome you home. Quote. Wow, back, finally back, woo woo, I thought I would never come back in my life. Woo woo, we can finally carry the name of a Thousand Hands again, woo woo. Great, that's great. Quote. Mother, father, do you see that? We're finally back to the Senju family, woo. You can rest assured. Quote. As Yi Chen's voice fell, the hundreds of thousands of hand clansmen present were quiet for a few seconds, and then burst into cheers. Immediately afterward, the cheers turned into crying. Especially some elderly people. Even more crying. These old people are all people who have experienced the exodus of the Thousand Hands clan. For the family, it is also the group of people who are most attached. Since they left the Thousand Hands clan, they have been thinking about returning to the family all the time, but without the order of the patriarch, they dare not expose them at all. They are the clansmen of the Thousand Hands clan. Okay, now, in their lifetime, they actually came back. Yechen looked at the scene of hundreds of people crying excitedly, and his heart was also very unpleasant. Because he knew that without his presence, these people would probably disappear inexplicably in the village before long. After all, Tuan Zhang's research on Mudan has never stopped. Sarutobi Flying Sun, Shimura Danzo. Thinking that so many people of the race, it is possible that all of them were arrested for human experiments, Yechen clenched his fists. In the blink of an eye, more than a month passed. In the past month or so, in Konoha village, although there was much less discussion about the nine-tailed demon fox, the hatred still transferred to the little Naruto, who was less than 1 year old. And after the Thousand Hands clan recalled those hundreds of clansmen, the originally deserted clan land was a little angry at this time, and it was no longer so lifeless. It is precisely because the Thousand Hands clan has someone that Jushinai can also be idle at this time. Although there are only a few hundred people left in the Thousand Hands clan, these hundreds of miles cannot all be useless waste. In order not to make Jushinai work so hard, Yechen directly selected some people among these hundreds of people to take over Jushinai's work. The management of Wanda Plaza and Chinatown. After handing over to these people to manage, Jushinai was completely idle. When he was fine, he went to look at the account books and go shopping with the night morning, otherwise it was to tease little Naruto, and the days were very moist. On this day, Yechen took advantage of Jushinai to go to Wanda Plaza and Chinatown to check a month's finances, and got up early in the morning to start decorating the home. At night, the moment Jushinai had just stepped into the clan land of the Thousand Hands clan, her whole person was stunned. Because, in the eye, all are heart-shaped pink balloons, flying petals. The road leading to the clan is lined with colorful lights that shimmer brightly. Tweet, boom, a ray of light rose from the ground, flew above the night sky, and suddenly exploded, suddenly blooming a brilliant flower, illuminating the entire night sky. And at this moment, the entire people of Konoha all looked up at the night sky, a little puzzled. Today is not a year, but not a festival, why did they suddenly set off fireworks? Who put this? However, the next moment, everyone understood who set off the fireworks. Because, the next moment, a firework bloomed in the night sky again, and then a line of words appeared in the dark night sky. Happy birthday to dear Jushinai, smile every day, love your morning. Closing square bracket. Seeing this line, everyone suddenly realized that today was Jushinai's birthday, and Lord Yechen was celebrating Jushinai's birthday. When they understood that all this was Yechen's handwriting, some girls envied. Because, looking at the meaning of the words in this night sky, Lord Yechin is not only celebrating Ju Shinai's birthday, but also confessing to Ju Shinai. It's so romantic. I envy the big sister. Hongdu sat on the roof, looking at the direction of the Senju clan, holding his small face in both hands, and his eyes were full of envy. Next to the red beans, it is sunset red. Shi Raihong looked up at the night sky, and although she didn't say anything, her eyes also showed an envious look. The Uchiha family. Uchiha Makoto stood in the courtyard of a mansion, looking up at the night sky with a somewhat complicated expression. A moment later, a smile appeared on Uchiha Makoto's face. This guy Yechin, if you don't give me such a ceremony in the future. Quote. The Hyuga family. HMPH, this guy is really going to make a fuss. Hinata Hiyashi looked at the words on the night sky, not knowing what came to mind, and snorted coldly. Where are the people making a fuss? It's called romance. At this time, a beautiful woman in a kimono walked to Hinata. Hinata, with a baby in her arms, glanced up at the fireworks in the night sky, and said dissatisfied. Isn't it just some fireworks? What's so romantic? Hinata said disdainfully. Seeing this, the beautiful woman shook her head, and then, looking up at the night sky again, said with envy, Ju Shinai is really happy. Quote. And the baby in her arms, at this time, also followed the beautiful woman's gaze, looked at the night sky, and when she saw the fireworks blooming on the night sky, she first showed a curious look, and then giggled. Inside the clan of the Thousand Hands, Ju Shinai stood on the road full of flowers, balloons, and dazzling, covering her small mouth with her hands, and looking ahead with crystal mist in her eyes. I saw in front of her, Yi Chen, wearing a handsome white suit, slowly walking towards her with a bouquet of roses in her hand. Yi Chen, who had a faint smile on his face, after coming to Ju Shinai, Yi Chen knelt down on one knee and looked up at Ju Shinai slightly. Ju Shinai, thank you for your company over the years, thank you for not giving up, thank you for your protection, although we have been together for a long time, but I have never given you a name. Quote. Speaking of this, Yechin took a deep breath and looked into Ju Shinai's eyes. Ju Shinai, please marry me. Quote. The sun pierces the dawn and re-illuminates the whole world. The earth is revitalized. Night morning in the room. A ray of sunlight shone in through the window, and Yechin opened his eyes, and then, he fished him out, like an octopus, and the person he was carrying was caught aside, hugged, and hugged tightly. Yi Chen's action suddenly made Ju Shinai, who was exhausted, open his eyes. As soon as she opened her eyes, Ju Shinai saw one and smiled at her handsome face. What to see? Ju Shinai was obviously stunned when he saw Yechin, and then, thinking of last night's madness, his pretty face instantly turned red, pulled over the quilt that he didn't know who kicked off, covered his body, and glared at Yechin. Look at my wife. Yechin hugged Ju Shinai, his hands were a little restless. You are really a real patriarch's wife now. Quote. Cut. I didn't seem to be able to say it before. Quote. Ju Shinai said so, but a happy smile appeared on his face. She and he have finally come this far. Now Ju Shinai feels extremely happy. Yes, you used to be too. Yechin looked at the somewhat arrogant Ju Shinai, and immediately smiled, and then, staring at Ju Shinai and smiling evilly, the weather is so good today, it's a pity not to exercise. Speaking of which, Yechin is becoming more and more dishonest. After all, he was eating meat for the first time in this world and was somewhat addicted. Don't. Ju Shinai gently spread out the night morning and said dissatisfied, can't you feel sorry for me? I'm falling apart now, not today. Quote. No, with your resilience, you can still toss and break. Yechin obviously doesn't believe Ju Shinai's nonsense. In terms of the resilience of the Vortex family, what is this injury? Anyway, not now. Okay, get up. I made an appointment with Makoto yesterday to go shopping. Aren't you going to teach those two little girls red ninjutsu? Wait for those two little girls to come over. See you like this, I see that you are not ashamed. Quote. Ju Shinai said while holding the quilt and getting up. After speaking, he walked out of Yechin's room and went to his room to get clothes. As for yesterday's clothes, I know everything. After Ju Shinai left, Yechin also got up and dressed. When the two of them cleaned up, Uchiha Makoto also arrived, and under Makoto's wistful look, Ju Shina said hello to Yechin and went out. After another while, Red and Red Beans, as well as the little fart Uchiha Itachi, came to Yechin. After arranging these two girls, a little fart child after training, lay on the recliner in the morning and called up the system. Name: Senju Yechin. Physique: immortal body perfect. Chakra 100 calories half-step hypershadow. Blood succession boundary mu duan. Chakra attributes wind, water, earth, fire, thunder, yang. Ninjutsu Chidori, Raichi, Yin Seal, Mudden Ninjutsu Collection, Spiral Pill, Shadow Doppelganger, When Done Vacuum Jade, Fengdun Crushing, Tuden Tuliubi, Tuden Heart Decapitation, Avatar, Transfiguration, Doppelganger. Comprehensive Strength, the peak of the shadow level. Gas luck value: 18,050. Is the luck value already almost 20,000? Do you want to buy a pack? Quote. Since this time, as one person established a commodity area in the morning of the night, the wealth of the Thousand Hands family has gradually increased, and the chi luck value has been increasing almost every day. Moreover, as shops were rented out and family stores opened, the luck value increased faster and faster. Especially with the addition of those hundreds of clansmen, the luck value almost starts to increase by dozens every day. Forget it, let's wait until 100,000 chi luck value before buying a gold gift package, with my current strength. The contents of the silver gift bag, for me, are no longer useful. Quote. Yechin shook his head slightly, giving up the idea of buying a silver gift package. So, it's also time to find out that old dog. Quote. Time flowed like water, and 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. This year, Konoha's 12 small strong began to grow gradually. This year, the tension in the ninja world has eased, and the various ninja villages are still resting, as if peace has been restored in the entire ninja world. This year, Konoha village was more prosperous than the original because of the appearance of Wanda Plaza and Chinatown. In this year, Union Village proposed to Konoha to negotiate an alliance, and had already sent people to Konoha. Naruto, you smelly boy, stop for the old lady, I have to smash your ass today. In the Senju clan's clan, a little boy about 3 years old, with blonde hair and a few beards like cats on his face, is running on the road. And behind him, a red-haired flying, still young and beautiful Ju Shinai, kept chasing behind. Naruto, stop for me. Ju Shinai looked like a loach, hiding in Naruto, and roared again. Have the ability to catch me, hee, and Ju Shinai is an idiot. Naruto, who is about 3 years old, can already walk like a fly. He grimaced at Ju Shinai as he ran backwards. Oops. Naruto, who was running with his back to him, suddenly felt as if he had hit something, and then he felt like he was being lifted up. Naruto looked up, and immediately saw a handsome face, looking at him with a smile. Faced with this handsome face, as well as the smile on his face, Naruto's heart tightened, subconsciously touched his butt, lowered his head slightly, and weakly exclaimed, Brother Yechin. Quote. It was no one else, it was the night morning. What are you doing again, little one? Unexpectedly let Ju Shinai chase you a few streets. Yonatsu glanced at Naruto, who bowed his head slightly, and then at Ju Shinai, who was glaring at Naruto. Night, Brother Yechin, I want to cultivate, I want to become a ninja, but Aunt Ju Shinai won't give me the method of refining chakra, I had to take it myself. Naruto was obviously a little afraid of the night morning, and when he answered the night morning, he stuttered a little. In fact, it is no wonder that Naruto is so afraid of the night morning. After all, provoking Aunt Ju Shinai, he was spanked at most. But if you make Big Brother Yechin unhappy. Thinking of Yechin's method of rectifying him, Naruto, who was only 3 years old, involuntarily fought a cold war. Good boy, you call Yechin a big brother and call me an aunt, am I that old? It seems that it is impossible not to teach you a lesson today. Ju Shinai heard Naruto call her aunt again, and immediately exploded. Ju Shinai said, snatching Naruto directly from Yechin's hand, and snapped at Naruto's little ass without a shadow hand. Ah, Aunt Ju Shinai, you let me go, I've grown up, can you give me a little face? Okay, grown up, huh, then give you a face, this time only 30 hits. Quote. Ah, Brother Yechin help, your daughter-in-law is so fierce, can you help me change an aunt? Quote. Snap, I told you to change your aunt, good, today I don't suck your ass, I'll take your last name. Phew, Aunt Ju Shinai, we obviously have a surname. Quote. Still dare to talk back. See if I don't kill you, little bunny. Quote. Hey, don't fight like that, be careful. Be careful if your hand hurts, it's better to take this bamboo stick. Children's childhood, how is it perfect not to eat a meal of fried meat with bamboo shoots? Give, bamboo strips for you. After finishing the fight, Hinata gave Hinata a birthday tonight, and he invited us. Quote. Phew, brother Yechin, I hate you. In the evening, the fiery red sun gradually disappeared above the earth. A bright moon, replacing the harsh sun, hangs above the night sky, overlooking the land. Yechin, are you okay? It's not early, let's go. Quote. Yechin's mansion. After Jushina sent Naruto to Uncle Hayata's house next door to take care of him, he returned home, and saw that Yechin had not come down yet, and couldn't help shouting upstairs. Coming. There was a sound of night mourning from the second floor, and then Yi Chen, dressed in a straight suit, walked down from upstairs. Hee, dressed so handsome, go see your little lover. Ju Shinai saw Yechin change into a suit, his hair was sprayed with hairspray, and he couldn't help but hug his chest with his hands. Looking at Yechin teased. The story of Yomochan's marriage with Hinata Hiyashi at the Hokage conference had long been spread in Konoha. However, when people heard the news, they all thought it was just a joke in the morning. After all, Yechin's age is a few years younger than Rizu, plus the relationship between Rizu and Yechin, can't he really change from a brother to a father-in-law and son-in-law, right? And Ju Shinai, who heard the news, was also just joking with Hinata that night, and didn't take it seriously, but now seeing Yechin dressed so formally, thinking of this back then, he couldn't help but ridicule. Yes, my little lover Hinata is now 3 years old, and she will be able to marry her in a dozen years, so while she is still young, make a good impression on her. Quote. Yechin walked down, heard Ju Shinai's words, smiled, put his arm around her and said. When Ju Shinai heard this, he rolled his eyes at Yechin, and while helping Yechin sort out his clothes, he said dissatisfiedly, you guy proposed to me more than 2 years ago, and now he didn't even give me a wedding, and he didn't let me get pregnant, and now it's embarrassing to say little lover. I see, you still have to think about how to deal with Makoto, she is waiting for us to get married, waiting for you to confess. Quote. When Yechin heard this, he gently hugged Ju Shinai, and then solemnly assured, I'm really sorry Ju Shinai, you also know the current situation, although I and Ape-Fae Sun have cut them in the past 2 years, it seems that the wind and waves are calm, but secretly their small actions are not small. I don't want you to repeat the same mistake as Watergate. As for the wedding, wait a minute, I promise to give you a satisfactory answer when the time comes. And Makoto, I'll give her an explanation when the time comes. Quote. In the face of Ju Shinai's complaints, Yechin's heart was also full of guilt. As he said, he and Ju Shinai shared the same room 2 years ago. But since proposing to Ju Shinai, neither of them held a wedding, nor did they immediately have children. The reason is still because apes fly to the sun to chop these garbage. Konoha seemed calm for the past 2 years, but over the years the situation in the ninja world has calmed down. Ape Flying Sun Chopper also withdrew the border troops little by little in the dark department. This led to the fact that the control of the Ape Flying Sun in Konoha became stronger and stronger. Of course, these 2 Chinese New Year's Eve mornings did not do nothing. Through the wealth he received from Wanda Plaza and Chinatown, as well as some promises he made, he also won over many ninjas and stood on his side. It can be said that at this time, Yechin and the Ape Flying Sun slashed, completing the formation of 2 factions. That's what you said, I'm not in a hurry, it's Makoto that you have time to talk about it. Ju Shinai helped Yechin sort out his clothes, smiled, and then said, okay, it's not early, it's time to go. Quote. Yechin nodded and took Ju Shinai and prepared to go out. At this time, Uncle Hayata's son, Oda walked in and bowed respectfully to Yechin. Lord Yechin, 3 generations of Hokage are visiting. Quote. The Ape Flying Sun is coming. What is he here for? Yechin and Ju Shinai heard the visit of Ape-Fae Richo, and for a while they didn't know what the hell this old guy was doing, and after glancing at each other, Yechin looked at Oda and said, you go and let him in. Quote. Yes, Oda answered respectfully and walked out. Why did this old guy suddenly come to you? Isn't it time for Alzheimer's disease? Ju Shinai raised her eyes to look at Yi Chen, her face full of doubts. Yechin also frowned and thought about this old fellow's intentions, but after thinking for a moment, he didn't know what calculations this old guy had in mind. What does this old guy want to do? Just wait and see. Soldiers come to block, water to cover. Quote. Hearing this, Ju Shinai nodded, and the two returned to the coffee table in the hall and sat down. While making tea, Ju Shinai chatted with Yechin without a match. Soon, Oda walked in with Sarutobi Hinata, who was dressed in civilian clothes, and Mito Monita, and Kaharu. Yechin and Ju Shinai got up. Yechinpi looked at the ape-flying sun with a smile and said, Lord Hokage, the sword is not old, and when you are free, you don't peep at women in the office to take a bath. How did you think of coming to me? Quote. Poof. When Ju Shinai heard this, he couldn't help but laugh. And Mito Menyon, who followed the ape-flying sun, turned to sleep. Kaharu and heard this, and they all forced a smile. This ape Hibiki locked himself in the office when he was fine, and used his broken crystal ball to spy on the hot spring hotel in Konoha village, and the entire Konoha high level knew about it. Well, night morning leaked out. For the smear of the ape-flying sun, Yechin is still happy to hear about it. And when the high level of Konoha learned that Naruto-sama actually had this hobby. The patriarchs of various families have ordered the women in the clan not to go to the hotels outside to take a bath, and the secret location of each family is even more arranged with enchantments, that is, to prevent the ape from flying to the sun and slash this old color batch. Ahem. When Ape Fei heard this, his old face turned red, and immediately, pretending not to hear Yi Chen's words, he said with a serious face, Yi Chen Patriarch, I came here this time because I investigated why the people of your Thousand Hands clan disappeared inexplicably. Quote. Oh, I wonder what Naruto-sama has investigated. When Yechin heard this, he watched the ape flying with interest, but he wanted to see what medicine this old guy was selling in the gourd. It's Orochimaru. Ape-flying sun chopper suddenly revealed a sad look. It was I who disciplined Wafang and taught such a rebel disciple as the Great Snake Pill, and in order to study immortality, he paid attention to the Thousand Hands clan, so, he. Yechin listened to the ape-flying sun chopping the barabala, throwing all the pots to the big snake pill, his face expressionless, as if he was watching a monkey. Looking at the eloquent narration of ape-flying sunchop, if he hadn't read the original book, he might have believed in his evil. Ape Fei said for more than half an hour, almost forming the big snake pill into a heinous madman, after saying the matter of the big snake pill. Sarutobi complained to Yoshin again, saying how it was not easy for him. When he took over the position from the second Hokage, Konoha village could be described as embattled and so on. And the more Yechin listened, the deeper his brows furrowed. This is not right. With the character of this old fellow, he would come to him for no reason to complain. Yechin didn't believe it. How could this look like he deliberately came here to drag him down? Wait a minute. Hold him down. Not good. Hinata. Yechin thought of Hinata being kidnapped by Yunin in the original work, and suddenly stood up. No wonder Yechin didn't think about it. It has been more than 20 years since he crossed into this world. In addition, Hinata's kidnapping is not mentioned much in the original work. And now, Sarutobi slashed this old guy, and came to him on Hinata's birthday, obviously wanting to drag him down so that Yun Shinobu could succeed. At that time, whether Hinata is kidnapped and returned to Union Village, or as in the original book, in the end, Hinata Hiyashi beats Yunin to death, and is forced to make Hinata back on the pot, it can suppress the Hyuga family. I depend, this old guy actually dared to cooperate with the outside village in order to suppress the Hyuga clan and him. Sure enough, Ape Flying Sun slashed these people and were all undercover agents sent by the enemy village. 3 years and 3 years, I didn't expect to become a super undercover agent like Hokage. Night morning, night morning. Just as Yechin stood up, Hinata's voice reached everyone's ears. Night morning. Hinata's voice came in hurriedly from outside, and immediately after, several people in the night morning saw Hinata and broke in with a worried face. And when he saw that in the hall, Ape Flying Sun Chopper was actually here, his whole person was stunned, and then he was furious. Okay, good, it turns out that you guys. It's obvious. Hinata saw the ape flying here in the night morning, and misunderstood something. Hiyashi, I'll talk to you in detail later. Yechin's face was solemn, and he turned his head to look at Sarutobi Hinata. Naruto-sama, you. Isn't it time to say something? Quote. Ape Fei heard this, but he looked dazed. Patriarch Yechin, what are you talking about? After Sarutobi asked this sentence, he turned his head to look at Hinata. Hinata, by the way, Hinata. I remember your daughter wasn't having a birthday party. Why did you rush to the night morning patriarch here? Is it to invite the Yechin patriarch to attend? Quote. Hinata glanced at Sarutobi with a gloomy face, and then, looked at Yechin without speaking. Phew. Yechin exhaled a breath, looked at Hinata Hiyashi and asked, Hiyashi-say, is something wrong? Quote. Hinata hesitated for a moment when she heard Yonata's question, and then sighed, Hinata has been captured. Quote. What? Captured? Quote. When Yechin heard this, he was immediately shocked. How could Hinata be captured? If he remembers correctly, in the original book, Hinata was indeed kidnapped by Yunin. However, before those Yunin could kidnap Hinata, they were discovered by Hinata Hiyashi and killed the kidnappers. In the end, Hinata Hiyashi was forced by Sarutobi Hinata and had to use Hinata's corpse to give Yunin an explanation instead of Hinata. However, today's Hinata is really kidnapped. The ape flying sun chop, it must be the ape flying sun chop. Yechin glanced at the ape flying sun, and finally looked at the sunfood and asked, tell me about the process in detail. Quote. Hinata looked at Yechin's expression and knew that Yechin did not shake hands with Sarutobi Hinata to make peace, or make any agreement. He nodded, and then, 1:50 told what happened. Originally, today Hinata happily held a birthday party for his daughter and watched the guests arrive. Hinata estimated the time and felt that the night was almost here. So he took his wife to the door to prepare to greet him. Hinata, on the other hand, remained in the backyard. However, Hinata and his wife did not wait for the night morning, but waited for the uninvited Shimura Danzo. Although Hinata Hiyashi dislikes Danzo very much, and even has some disgust. But after all, Tuonzo is a high level of Konoha, and it is not appropriate to put on a face for Tuonzo in front of so many people. After all, the Night Morning series and the Ape Flying Sun cut the first series. The contradiction between the two parties is no longer reconcilable, but the face has not been completely torn on the surface. Therefore, Hinata Hiyashi could only welcome Danzo in. Antoine Zhang didn't know what medicine he had taken tonight. He used to have a dead fish face, but tonight he actually smiled and talked to him. And because the night morning had not yet arrived, the banquet naturally did not start immediately. Hinata has been in the backyard. However, what Hinata didn't expect was that everyone's attention was on top of the banquet. Hinata was kidnapped in the backyard of the Hyuga clan. And Hinata just happened to run into it, and he was already alone in chase. After Hinata Hiyashi learned the news, he naturally wanted to pursue immediately. However, at this time, Tuonzo stopped him, saying that there was no need to worry. He ordered the dark department to save people, and they just waited at the banquet. Hinata sees this. Where is it? Their relationship with Tuonzang, can he not know? Will Tuonzo be kind enough to help bring people back? Don't even think about it, it's simply impossible. However, Danzo stopped him, and in the name of suspecting that there might be a hidden treacherous agent in the Hyuga clan, he let the ninja of the root surround the Hyuga clan. In this way, Hinata Hiyashi and the others confronted Danzo. Yechin was not there, and Uchiha Fugaku and the others didn't know whether to start immediately, and the two sides could only dry stare. Helpless, Hinata Hiyashi can only pray that Hinata can save Hinata. However, when the bloody Hinata stumbled back to the Hyuga clan, Hinata's whole person was stunned. And at this moment, I don't know if Tuonzo received any news, and after smiling coldly at Hinata Hiyashi and the others, he led people to leave. After Tuonzo left, Hinata Hiyashi hurriedly inquired about the situation. Only then did he know that after Hinata chased Yunin out of Konoha village, he was ambushed by a dozen kami shinobi wearing masks, and not only did he not save Hinata, but he almost couldn't come back. When Hinata heard this, it was called a gas. At this point, Hinata Hiyashi still doesn't understand where is it a good thing that Sarutobi slashed these guys in collusion with Yun Shinobu. However, those Yunin had been gone for a while. With his strength, even if he can catch up, I am afraid that he will reach the border of the Fire Nation. And at this time on the border of the Fire Country, Hinata doesn't need to think much, there must be a large army of Union Village to respond. Helpless, Hinata Hiyashi hurriedly rushed towards the Senju clan, wanting Yechin to help and save Hinata. After all, in this situation, the entire Konoha, I am afraid that Yechin has this ability, and saved Hinata. After listening to what Hinata said, Yechin squinted his eyes and looked at Sarutobi Hinata. You guys are really the pillars of Konoha, it's good, I remember. So, Naruto-sama's purpose has been accomplished, can you leave now? If you stay in my Senju clan again, I am afraid that I will pollute the air of the family. Quote. The matter has already been told to the patriarch of Yechin, the old man should also go back, no way, old man, can't stay up late like a young man. Quote. Sarutobi Hinata faced Yechen's mockery, completely as if he hadn't heard it, and while speaking, he took Mitomenyon and turned to sleep Kaharu and the two of them and walked outside. Looking at the figure of the ape flying sun, Yechin said to Ju Shinai and Hiyashi, I'm going to save Shao Hinata now, you all pay attention tonight, after I leave the village, it's hard to guarantee that these old silver coins will play any tricks. Quote. Or I'll come with you, Ju Shinai said with a worried face. Yechin shook his head, and then said solemnly, little Naruto is still in the family, you must stay. Well, without further ado, I'm leaving. Quote. Yi Chen said, without waiting for the two to react, out of the mansion, the whole person turned into a black shadow, skipped the entire Konoha, and went in the direction of the Land of Thunder. Ape Fae, it seems that our plan has succeeded. In front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of Hokage's office, Konoha F4 stood in a row, looking down at the entire Konoha. When Tuan Zhang saw a black shadow, he directly climbed over the city wall and left Konoha, with a faint smile on his gloomy face. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow, the eight-tailed human pillar force, and the two-tailed human pillar force, have already reached the border between the country of soup and the country of fire, right? Sarutobi looked at the night scene of Konoha village, spit out a smoke ring, and asked slowly. Good. It arrived 3 days ago. Shimura Danzo made a cold face again. Is it possible to face Senju? Uchi wave hands now. Quote. Wait a minute. Ape Fae reheard this, pondered for a moment, and then said. What are you waiting for? You don't think that Yechin can survive the ambush of the 4 generations of Thunder Shadow, the 8-tailed human pillar force, the 2-tailed human pillar force, and the 2,000 elite ninjas of Union Village, right? Quote. When Shimura Danzo heard this, he said very dissatisfied. They joined forces with Union Village to set up such a big bureau, that is, they wanted to completely eradicate Yechin and the increasingly restless Uchiha clan. Finally 1,000 Hands. The current 1,000 Hands clan, except for Yechin and Ju Shinai, does not even have a single upper shinobi. As long as Yechin dies, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan will become history. Just in case, it's not that time. Sarutobi glanced at Shimura Danzo and said lightly, although you can't start right now, you also have to prepare, don't forget that Ju Shinai also has half of the 9 tails sealed in her body, plus her sealing technique. If she can't kill with one blow and let her find an opportunity to unlock the seal inside Naruto's body, then I don't need to say more about the consequences, right? Quote. Shimura Danzo frowned when he heard this. Although he had never dealt with the 9 tails, he had seen the horror of the 9 tails. If the seal in the body of Kushina and Naruto is lifted, and the 9 tails are completely broken, I am afraid that Konoha will face the 9 tails rebellion again. And at this time, Konoha did not have the night mourning and the wave feng shui gate. If the 9 tails break the seal, I am afraid that I can only find someone to use the ghoul to seal it again. And the entire Konoha society ghoul sealed except for Ju Shinai, only he and Sarutobi Flying Sun. Well, wait, if the 9 tails broke the seal, and Ape Flying Sun killed by sealing the 9 tails with a ghoul, wouldn't he be able to? Shimura Danzo's mind involuntarily came alive. In the woods not far from the border of the Land of Fire, 4 or 5 figures were rushing towards the Land of Tang. And one of these figures was carrying a sack at this time. Father, mother, and sister Ju Shinai, Knight. Brother Yechin, Chick, Hinata is so scared, where are you? Quote. In the sack, Hinata, who had woken up, had a pair of beautiful big eyes, full of tear stains, and his small body was very uncomfortable with the bumps, and he felt that the whole person was about to suffocate. Today is her birthday, and her father said that he will hold a big birthday party for her, and many people will come to give her gifts. Actually, she didn't like so many people's birthday parties. As long as the father, mother, sister Ju Shinai, brother Yechin, and sister Hongdu, they will come. However, her father actually wanted to do it, and she did not dare to say more. The banquet was about to begin, and the father and mother went out to greet the guests. The uncles in the family are also busy outside. She could only listen to her mother and keep her room waiting for the banquet to begin. But unexpectedly, just when she was expecting the arrival of sister Ju Shinai and brother Yechin, she suddenly felt so sleepy and then fell asleep. After waking up again, she's in this sack. She knew she had been kidnapped. Because, she heard those people say, they would take it back to the land of thunder. She heard brother Yechin say about the land of thunder. I heard that the country of thunder is all rocky mountains, and it is called the country of thunder all year round. She was most afraid of thunder. She didn't want to go to the land of thunder, she wanted to go home. However, no one came to rescue her for so long, was she abandoned by her father. Phew. Thinking that she might have been abandoned by her father, Hinata couldn't help but cry in a low voice. Brother Yechin, my father said, you are so powerful, why didn't you come to save Hinata? You're not. It's not that in the future. Too. Hinata muttered, but as she spoke, she didn't know what came to mind, and her little face turned red. I'm afraid I won't be able to see sister Ju Shinai and brother Yechin again in the future. Hinata wiped her tears, full of sadness. Bang bang. Ah, Hinata, who was thinking about it, suddenly heard one scream after another. It's the voices of those badasses. Then she felt as if she had been picked up by someone else. Moreover, she could clearly feel that she had stopped and did not move any further. What's going on? Just as Hinata was wondering, she seemed to be placed on the ground. Could it be that he has arrived in the land of thunder? Hinata was a little frightened. Immediately, she felt that the sack containing her had been untied. Ah, little Hinata, who was full of horror, exclaimed, and a pair of small hands covered his eyes. What's wrong, Hinata, are you playing hide and seek with your brother? Quote. Just when Hinata was full of fear and despair, a familiar and gentle voice entered her ears. Hearing this familiar and gentle voice, Hinata's small body trembled, and then, full of surprise, let go of the hand covering his eyes. In front of her was a young man crouching in front of her, looking at him with a smile on his face. Phew, brother Yechin. Looking at the familiar face in front of him, Xiao Hinata was like a lonely boat in the sea, found a backer, tears flowed down like no money, and then, directly threw herself in Yechin's arms, two small hands holding Yechin deadly, for fear that as soon as she let go, her Yechin brother would disappear. Yechin held Xiao Hinata in his arms, gently patted her back and comforted. Don't cry, don't worry, with Yechin's brother here, no one can hurt Xiao Hinata. Quote. Phew, Hinata buried her face in Yorichin's shoulder, crying and choking up, I thought everyone didn't want me, brother Yechin, I'm so scared, so scared. Quote. Don't be afraid, with me, brother Yechin is very powerful, no one can hurt Xiao Hinata. Yechin was full of distressed comfort. Aha, Hinata cried for a while, her mood was slightly better, she held Yechin's head, a pair of slightly lilac pupils, looked at Yechin's eyes, her pretty face became redder and redder, and her voice was like a mosquito saying, Night. Brother Yechin, long, growing up, all merry. Ape flying sun chopping this old guy is such a big hand. Just as Hinata whispered, Yechin didn't notice it at all. Because, he sensed countless chakra breaths, which were surrounding him, and the chakra aura of three of them was extremely huge. Boom! A burst of footsteps came from all directions. The originally silent woods seemed to become lively at this moment. Swish! As black shadows fell from all directions, I saw that one by one, the skin was a little dark, but the body was unusually burly, and the ninja wearing the forehead of Union Village surrounded the night morning group in the middle. Night, brother Yechin. Looking at the sudden increase of thousands of people, Xiao Hinata shrunk in fear, and his two small hands tightly grasped Yechin's clothes. Don't be afraid, my brother said that he will always protect Hinata. Yonata flashed a smile at Hinata. Looking at Yechin's sunny smile, Hinata's originally frightened heart was put down tightly. Thousand Hands Night Morning, Mu Dun Blood succeeds the successor of the Limit Realm. At this time, a thick voice entered Yi Chen's ears. When Yechin heard this, he looked up in the direction where the voice came from. I saw that in front of Yechin, the army of Union ninja separated a road. Then, a group of 3 people walked out from the road that had been seeded. The man at the head of these 3 people, with a resolute face, a burly figure, estimated height of nearly 2 meters, bronzed skin, muscles like a hill, at a glance, is a difficult lord. And behind this burly man was a man wearing sunglasses, wearing a Union Village forehead, carrying several knives behind his back, and walking and shaking. The last person was a woman. This woman has beautiful blonde hair, a tight combat uniform, a high-jumping figure, a cold face, and the whole person is heroic but full of noble atmosphere. It's really a big deal. I didn't expect that in order to deal with me, not only Union Village dispatched thousands of elite ninjas, but even the 4th generation of Lei Ying-ai, the 8-tailed man Zuli Kiribi, and the 2-tailed man Zuli and the 2 Yugi people came. Yechin looked at the 4 generations of Thunder Shadow, Kurabi, and Yugito, and his heart was also shocked. What a big deal. Union Village actually dispatched almost all the high-end combat power of Union Village for him. Haha, there is no need to sigh. The opponent is you who has the legendary blood succession limit of the ninja realm, which deserves our attention. When the 4th generation of Lei Ying heard this, he laughed heartily, and then, with a resolute face, he asked with interest, Yechin, you have nowhere to escape now, how about you join my Union Village? Don't worry, my Union Village is not as dark as your Konoha. In our Union Village, as long as you have the ability, you can make everyone obey you. Even if you want to be a Thunder Shadow, there is no problem. How is it? Enter our Union Village. Quote. Yechin heard the words solicited by the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, but his heart was unmoved. It is true that Union Village is just like the 4th generation of Lei Ying said, compared to the darkness of other ninja villages. Union Village is definitely a clear stream in the entire ninja world. Perhaps because of the geographical location, the vast majority of the ninjas in Union Village are a group of reckless men with direct personalities and some short tempers. And it is precisely because these reckless men have a direct personality, and they say something directly. If you fight if it doesn't make sense, you will use less intrigue, especially against your own people. To be honest, if Yechin crossed into Konoha, not a member of the Senju clan, but a civilian ninja, he would really be able to run to Union Village. However, he is now not only the patriarch of the Senju clan, but also has attracted a large number of families who support him, and he can inherit the family property of Konoha. Now let him run to Union Village, where he is not familiar with life. Isn't this Nima? No more. Really, when a shadow level peak, 2 people's pillar power, plus 2,000 elite ninja army can scare him. Well, to be honest, Yechin was really scared. Even if his strength has reached a half-step super shadow, but in the face of so many strong people, and with a small Hinata, the difficulty for him to break out of the encirclement unharmed is simply more difficult than ascending to the sky. However, system, open my properties panel. Yes, the night morning is going to open the hanging. Name, Senju Yechin. Physique, immortal body perfect. Chakra 101 cards early stage of Ultra Shadow. Blood succession boundary Mu Duan. Chakra attributes wind, water, earth, fire, thunder, yang. Ninjutsu Chidori, Ratchet, Yin Seal, Mudden Ninjutsu Collection, Spiral Pill, Shadow Doppelganger, Windun Vacuum Jade, Fungdun Crushing, Tudun Tuliu Wall, Tudun Heart Decapitation Art, Lei Dun. Comprehensive Strength Half-Step Super Shadow. Gas Luck Value 210,000. In the past 2 years, Yechin has not used the system, and his luck value has even been supported by more and more people and improved. Originally, Yechin planned to directly purchase the diamond gift package after collecting millions of chi luck values. But now he is surrounded by so many elites of Union Village, and with the drag of Xiao Hinata, if he wants to retreat safely, he can only rely on the system to open and hang. System. Buy the gold pack. Quote. Yechin endured the pain and ordered the system. It's too hard to get luck. It took him more than 2 years to get the 200,000. Now buying a golden gift package costs him 100,000 yuan, directly shattering his diamond dream. How did this not hurt his heart? However, no matter how distressed you are, all you have to do now is to escape alive with Hinata. Ding. 100,000 gas luck value has been deducted. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting a gold package. Does the host open it? Yes, open it. Quote. Ding. The gold gift pack opens, and the host obtains the following items. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a pair of kaleidoscopic chakra eyes. By the way, Uchiha bloodline. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining ninjutsu, thunderbolt chakra armor. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining an immortal mode experience card 1000 hand pillar version. The duration is 30 seconds, has been issued to the temporary space of the system. The host must take it out within 24 hours, and it is not allowed to be directly destroyed. Closing parenthesis. Looking at the things opened by the golden gift bag, Yechin was pleasantly surprised. Although there are only 3 things, the kaleidoscope chakra eye alone is enough for his strength to get a qualitative leap. And there is also a fairy mode experience card between the 1000 hand pillars. Although this experience card is only 30 seconds long, but these 30 seconds were enough for him to put a top Buddha. In this Uchiha burp, 6 ways out now, try to ask who can resist the top Buddha. Chapter 31. How well did you think about it? Quote. The 4th generation of Lei Ying, seeing Yechin bowed his head slightly, had been silent, thinking that he was thinking about it, so he waited for a while and asked again. In fact, now I is also extremely excited in his heart. If Yechin can join Union Village, then their Union Village will definitely take off. With 2 perfect human pillar powers, plus the strength of his ninja world peak, if you add 1 more in the future, it may be the ninja world god Yechin. So, even if Union Village wants to unify the ninja realm, it is not impossible, right? Thinking that their Union Village is about to achieve the cause of no one before and no one to come. The 4th generation of Lei Ying was so excited that his muscles were shaking. And Yi Chen, who had already received all the items, heard the words of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows. He raised his head slightly, looked directly at everyone, and suddenly showed a strange smile on his face. The 4th generation of Lei Ying, I have to admit that you do have an admirable spirit, and this point, the ape flying sun is not as good as you. When the 4th generation of Lei Ying heard Yi Chen's words, he thought that he had decided to join Union Village. A smile involuntarily appeared on his face. However, Yi Chen's next words made his smile freeze. However, Yechin will not join Union Village. Speaking of this, Yechin paused, and then, under the ugly face of the 4th generation of Lei Ying, he said lightly, I think that it is a good choice for you to join Konoha. How about it? When I clean up the ape flying sun, how about your Union Village merged into Konoha? Quote. So daring. Click, 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 boom. The 4th generation of Lei Ying, who was already hot-tempered, listened to Yi Chen's words. Where could he hold back his temper? With a loud snort, the whole person was covered by a blue electric arc, and then, like a violent lightning, rushed towards the night morning. Swoosh! Almost in the blink of an eye, the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows appeared in front of Yi Chen, raised his right hand, like an indestructible chakra knife, and slashed towards Yi Chen's neck. Ah! Little Hinata, who was held by Yechin, looked at the 4 generations of Thunder Shadows that suddenly appeared, exclaimed, and then, closed his eyes in fear. And Yechin faced the raid of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, still holding Hinata motionless, as if he was scared stupid. However, he still had a smile on his face. Go and die, 1000 hands night morning. Looking at Yi Chen, who had no intention of dodging, the 4th generation of Lei Ying glared angrily, and his hand knife slashed at Yi Chen's neck. And at the moment when the hand knife of the 4th generation of Lei Ying cut over, Yi Chen's originally dark eyes turned blood red. In the pupils, a hook jade quickly appeared, followed by 2 and 3. In an instant, Yechin opened the Sango jade writing wheel eye. But that's just the beginning. When 3 gouged jades appeared in his pupils, the 3 Guyu spun rapidly, and immediately after, the 3 Guyu were connected together. Boom! A loud noise reached everyone's ears, and immediately after, a wave of chi spread in all directions with the night morning and the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows as the center, directly blowing off the surrounding trees and flying dust. And all around are the elite ninjas of Union Village. Although this wave of chi is extraordinary, it is still a little difficult to hurt them. Lord Lei Ying's power is still so terrifying. It's more than power. The speed is also very scary, right? If I hadn't heard that 1000 hands Yechin say that, I had prepared in advance, and the airwave alone would have blown me away. Quote. Haha, me too, when that kid said that, I knew that Lord Lei Ying was going to do it. Now that kid is done playing, right? With Lord Lei Ying's speed, even if he can be woody, he won't have time to cast, right? Quote. That's right, how terrifying is Lord Thundershadow's speed? What about Wei Mu Duan? There is no time to release Mu Dun for you, and it is just a revenant under Lord Lei Ying. Quote. Alas, Lord Lei Ying is a little fussy, obviously one person can do it, and he wants us to come together, he can't afford that kid too much. Quote. The surrounding Union ninjas seemed to have prepared early, and when the thunder shadow broke out, they all retreated into the distance. Looking at the dust-shrouded area in front of them, they discussed them one by one with great interest. Oh, 8 quacks wash ria deer. Yay. Above the trunk of a large tree, Chiribi twisted his body and sang in a strange tone, with a very contemptuous demeanor. However, his eyes under his sunglasses were a little more brilliant, and he looked ahead without blinking. On the trunk of another large tree, Yukito hugged his chest with both hands, and his face gradually became a little solemn. The dust clears. Everyone's eyes were focused on the past. And when the ninjas of Union Village saw the situation on the field, their eyes widened one by one. This. What is it? Quote. Lord Thundershadow's attack was attacked by. Resisted down. The dust dispersed, and the figures of Yechen and Lei Ying appeared in everyone's eyes. I saw it in the big pit that was smashed out. The 4 generations of Thunder Shadows shrouded in Lei Dun chakra, their hand knives slashed into a cloud of translucent bones condensed by blue chakra. Among these translucent bones are Yechen and Hinata, who is held in his arms. Yechen and Hinata were unexpectedly intact, and they didn't even have the slightest bit of their clothes. Boom. Suddenly, the blue translucent bone that shrouded the night and morning suddenly turned into a bone arm and grabbed the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows. Swoosh. When the bone was about to catch the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, he disappeared in an instant and retreated violently. Kaleidoscope Sharingan. The 4th generation of Thunder Shadows, who were more than 20 meters away from Yechen, had a solemn face, and their eyes looked directly at Yechen's scarlet eyes. As a shadow of a village. The abilities of the 2 legendary ninjas in Konoha village are recorded in every village. And as a name equal to the Senjuju pillar and possessing the title of Ninja Asura in the ninja realm, every former shadow has read their information. Kaleidoscope Sharingan. The pupil technique that can compete with Mu Duan, the god of the ninja world, how could Lei Ying not know? And it was precisely because he knew that Yechen's eyes were kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, which shocked Lei Ying's heart. You know, Yechen has a wooden escape. A Mu Dun blood succession limit realm represents that Yechen may be the next ninja realm god in the future. Now add a kaleidoscope chakra eye. Is this a collection of the gods of the ninja world cultivation in one? If he is fully grown, who in the ninja world can resist the night morning? Thinking of this, Lei Ying was completely uncalm. Bye, Yukito joined hands with me to kill Yechen, and the rest of the people assisted on the side. Absolutely can't let him escape, otherwise, my Union village will be in danger. Night morning, shrouded in translucent face chakra and condensed bones, is feeling the changes brought by the kaleidoscope chakra eye. The pupil technique was not immediately conceived. Is my pupil technique too powerful? Moreover, I didn't feel the consumption of pupil power, perhaps because of the immortal body. Feeling the power of the kaleidoscope chakra eye, Yi Chen thought in his heart. First of all, his pupil technique was not immediately conceived. Secondly, perhaps because of the immortal body, Susanoo, who opened the kaleidoscope chakra eye, even if he only opened a few bones, did not feel the consumption of pupil power. You know, what he got was a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, not an eternal kaleidoscope. In the original work, Uchiha Weasel has become presbyopia because of the excessive use of kaleidoscopes. And now, Yechen has an immortal body, and with Susanoo open, his pupil power is almost not consumed. Moreover, Yechen also believed that with the immortal body, even if his pupil power was consumed, he would be fine. Because, the immortal body can restore pupil strength. In this way, is there any difference between the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye of the night morning and the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye? Suddenly, Yechen's brows frowned, and he felt the difference between the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye and the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. And this difference is that his kaleidoscope chakra eye open Susanoo, at most, can open to a complete body, and there is no extreme body. And the difference between the complete body Susanoo and the ultimate body Susanoo, as well as the power, that is great. Uchiha Spot relies on some flesh and blood between the 1,000-hand pillars, can open the eye of reincarnation. My whole person is an immortal body. I still don't believe that even an eternal kaleidoscope can be upgraded. Thinking of this, Yechin is not entangled in the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Anyway, Uchiha can open the eye of reincarnation by relying on a piece of meat. If only he couldn't even awaken the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan. That can only mean that this immortal body of his is absolutely fake. System, open my properties panel. Name, Senju Yechin. Physique, immortal body perfect. Chakra 101 cards ultra shadow early. Blood succession boundary mu duan. Kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Chakra attributes wind, water, earth, fire, thunder, yang. Ninjutsu thunder dun armor, Chidori armor, ratchet, yin seal, mu dun ninjutsu collection, spiral pill, shadow doppelganger art, wind dun vacuum jade, wind dun crushing, Tuden, Tuliu wall, Tuden, heart decapitation art, lei dun. Comprehensive strength the early stage of super shadow. Gas luck value 110,000. Take a look at the system, its own properties panel. Seeing that the comprehensive strength had only reached the early stage of the super shadow, Yi-Chen did not feel strange. After all, whether he is Mudun or Kaleidoscope Sharingan now, he is not comparable to the Senju pillar and Uchiha at his peak. The strength of the 1,000-hand pillars and the Uchiha spot at the peak has definitely reached the peak of the super shadow, and even the 1,000-hand pillars are more likely to be at the level of half-step 6 paths. And the reason why he has Mudun and Kaleidoscope Sharingan, and his comprehensive strength is only in the early stage of Super Shadow, is because he lacks the immortal art between the 1,000-hand pillars and the eternal Kaleidoscope Sharingan like Uchiha. When he learned immortal arts, or opened the Kaleidoscope Chakra Eye, anything, his strength was definitely no worse than these two. Let's get back to business. The 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, looking at Yechin who was wrapped in Susanoo, directly greeted Kurabi and Yugito, and launched an attack towards Yechin. Crackling, the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows broke out again, and the Thunder Chakra on his body enveloped him like flames, and the arcs began to become more violent, his hair, roots stood up, and with the blue chakra around his body, it was as if he had transformed into a Super Saiyan. Boom! The huge body of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow flashed, and the earth under his feet cracked and disappeared in place. Phew! The 4th generation of Thunder Shadows appeared in front of Yi Chen again, his right hand bent into a fist, and blasted towards Yi Chen's head position. Phew! Chirabi didn't know when, came to Yi Chen's back, wearing a layer of red chakra coat, and like Thunder Shadow, his left hand was bent into a fist and slammed into Yi Chen's eye position. Absolute bull. Thunder Blade Hot Knife. Boom. The combined attack ninjutsu of Thunder Shadow and Kurabi was completed in an instant. Suddenly, the location where Yechin was located was like a bomb exploding, and the dust had just flown up. The trees of the entire forest were all blown off by the shock wave. It is worthy of being the strongest combination, it is really powerful. One after the other in the night, he was struck by the fists of Thunder Shadow and Kurabi, and hit Susanoo's bones. Feeling the power that the two of them had just exploded, Yechin couldn't help but sigh. Click, and just as Yechin sighed, the bones of Susanoo's transformation appeared one after another. Moreover, there are more and more cracks, and it looks like they are about to break. How is that possible? I actually resisted it. Quote, the 4th generation of Lei Ying saw that he and the Thunder Blade Hot Knife were not able to break the Susanoo of the night, and their faces were full of shock. Big brother, be careful. Just when Thunder Shadow was shocked, Kurabi's voice never came. The 4th generation of Thunder Shadows returned to his senses and instantly retreated. Boom! At the moment when the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow had just retreated, a huge bone arm smashed fiercely on the position he had just taken. Fire rat! Boom! It was just when Lei Ying left. The moment the bone arm fell down, a blue flame, carrying the scorching heat, flew to the position of the night morning. Suddenly, the blue flames exploded, directly engulfing the area where Yechin was. Well done, Yugito. Seeing this scene, the 4th generation of Lei Ying couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. Yukito's blow, both in terms of timing and power, is too perfect. It's not over, Xiaoba said, this guy is very terrifying, we have to be careful. Kurabi doesn't sing strange tones anymore. After landing beside the fourth generation of Thunder Shadows, he looked solemnly at the place that was engulfed in blue flames. Yes, you told me that we had better go all out, otherwise we might suffer losses. The royal sister Yukito on the other side also spoke with a solemn face. Boom, Yukito's voice just fell. The blue flames at the location of the night morning were all blown away. Everyone around, including the three of Lei Ying, dodged the scattered blue flames. And when they looked again in the direction of the night morning, all of them were stunned. I saw that where Yechin was just now, a giant tens of meters tall, wearing armor and holding a knife in both hands, appeared in front of them. Just kidding, right, is this the power that a person can have? Quote. Oh my god, this power is comparable to a tailed beast, right? Quote. We can't get a hand at all in such a battle. Everyone dispersed. This guy will be handed over to Lord Lei Ying. The task we have to do is to support from the side, we can't let him run. Yes, the ninja of Union Village, looking at the giant in front of him who was tens of meters tall, with blue chakra flames all over his body, wearing half-body armor, and holding a knife in both hands, was first shocked by the power of Yechin. Then, one by one, the Union ninjas scattered around, sealing off this area. Although they were shocked by Yi Chen's strength, after all, the Union had two perfect human pillar powers, the power of the tailed beast, and they had never seen it before. Therefore, after the shock, these Union ninjas returned to their senses one after another and strictly carried out the tasks given to them by the Thunder Shadow. This is the Uchiha clan, the legendary Hitomi Susanoo. Lei Ying looked up at the tall Susanoo, and his tone was full of exclamations. The tall Susanoo was inside his head, holding little Hinata in the morning and levitating in Susanoo. Hinata, are you afraid of heights? Yechin also felt the power of Susanoo for the first time, and his heart was full of excitement. Kai Susanoo is different from controlling wooden people, Kai Susanoo is the same as Kaisano. And controlling the wooden man is like controlling a giant by remote control. Both seem to be controlling giant battles, but this control of giants is completely different from directly driving giants to fight. No, don't be afraid of heights. Quote. Little Hinata hugged Yechin's neck tightly, and after hearing Yechin's words, he also leaned out his little head to look. Through the translucent Susanoo, he saw that she was dozens of meters off the ground, and while saying that he was not afraid, he pressed his face tightly to Yechin's neck, and hugged Yechin's little hand a little harder. Yechin couldn't help but laugh when he saw Xiao Hinata's cute appearance. After laughing, Yechin made a seal with one hand, the art of wood doppelganger. Quote. As Yi Chen's voice fell, Yi Chen, which was split from the wood, levitated beside him. Hinata, will you follow my doppelganger first? My brother has to deal with the bad guys with all his might. Quote. Yi Chen said softly to Hinata. Hinata heard this, raised her head, looked at the night-morning doppelganger next to her who was also looking at her with a smile, and then looked at the night-morning figure she was holding, thought about it, and then nodded. Although she didn't want to go to Yechin's brother's doppelganger, even if the other person was Yechin's brother's doppelganger. But she also knew that brother Yechin would drag him down when he held her, and she didn't want to drag brother Yechin. Seeing Xiao Hinata nodding, Yi Chen handed her over to the doppelganger. Little Hinata will be handed over to you. Quote. Don't worry, Buddha figure, it's no surprise to have me, Yechin assured as he took Hinata in his arms. Yochichin nodded, then smiled slightly at Hinata, who was watching him in the arms of the doppelganger, and then turned his head to look at the Thunder Shadow, Kurabi, and Yukito below. Wang, looking at the three people below Lei Ying, his scarlet eyes bloomed with a dazzling red light, and the patterns in his pupils slowly rotated. Phew, as the kaleidoscope of the night spun, the huge Susanoo moved. I saw the giant who was tens of meters tall, and suddenly raised the long knife in his hand, facing the position of the three of Lei Ying, and slashed down. The long knife swung up, as if piercing the air, carrying a whistling sound, and fell. Boom, the earth shook, the dust flew, and the wind raged. Susanoo in the morning of the night, this soared down, as if it was a punishment from the gods, and like a natural disaster, it instantly divided the earth in this area in half. Xiaoba, let's go too. Kurabi dodged Susanoo's sword and shouted. Oh, go, then. In the sealed space of Kurabi, a thick voice responded. Boom. On Chirabi's body, a huge red chakra appeared, directly covering him, and then a giant beast with 8 octopus tentacles, a minotaur, and a human hand appeared in front of everyone. This is Yaoi, Bull Ghost. Meow. Before everyone could come back to their senses, a cat bark sounded. Immediately afterwards, a cat that was a little smaller than Yao, dark blue, with black patterns on its body and 2 tails behind it, crawled on the ground, glaring at Susanoo in an attack posture. This is the 2-tailed brigade. Passionate dance, need music, go on together. Kurabi's voice came from Yaoi's body, and immediately after, the huge Yaoi rushed towards Susanoo in the night. Roar, meow, boom boom. The 8-tailed bull Oni, along with the Neo, launched an attack on Susanoo at the same time. 2 giant beasts stepped on the earth continued to shake, and the entire forest had disappeared at this time. Good to go. Open Gundam. Oh no, the night morning that controlled Susanoo, watching the 2-tailed beasts rushing towards him, not only was not afraid, but his face was full of excitement. Waving his 2 knives, he greeted him. The 3 behemoths quickly approached, and the 8-tailed bull Oni raised his fist and blasted at Susanoo. And Yechin controlled Susanoo, and also swung a knife, straight at Yao, and at the same time, the long knife of the other hand stabbed towards the 2 tails. Swoosh. Without waiting for Susanoo's long knife to approach, his body was extremely flexible and dodged, and then he went around Susanoo's back and grabbed it with 1 claw. And Yao faced the knife that Susanoo chopped, and several tentacles behind it, without swinging, were directly wrapped around Susanoo's arm, and then Yao's fist directly blasted towards Susanoo's chest. Bang, crunch, Yao's fist, Neo's claw, and attack Susanoo at the same time. Suddenly, the armor on Susanoo's body shattered somewhat, and some cracks appeared in Yao's fist and attack. Haha, refreshing. I don't know if it was due to the bloodline of the Uchiha clan, but Yechin, who was attacked, laughed out loud. It's my turn. After laughing, Yorichin manipulated Susanoo and first tried to cut off the tentacles wrapped around his arm. However, he was dodged by Yaoi backing away. Immediately afterwards, he turned around again and slashed at the 2nd tail behind him. The 2nd tail has already seen its speed. Susanoo's retrospective knife was naturally easily dodged. Boy, did you forget me? At this moment, the voice of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows came, and immediately after, Yechin saw that the Thunder Shadow appeared on Susanoo's head. Yechin looked up. Then I saw that the Thunder Shadow wrapped in Lei Dun chakra kicked down violently. Boom, click. This kick of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow stepped firmly on Susanoo's head. Suddenly, a huge force came from the top of Susanoo's head, and Susanoo was directly a few meters shorter. This is Susanoo being stepped on by the foot of the 4th generation of Thunder Cage, and the ground collapses. And Susanoo's head also appeared cracks under the foot of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow. Yokuchin controls Susanoo. Grab the 4 generations of Thunder Shadows on the head. The 4th generation of Thunder Shadows flickered, disappeared above Susanoo's head, and landed on Yao's head. In an instant, Susanoo of the Night Morning confronted Yao, Neo, and the 4th generation of Thunder Cage. Crunch. In the Night Morning in Susanoo's head, the kaleidoscope chakra eyes once again glowed scarlet. Susanoo, who had just been broken and damaged, slowly repaired it. There are fewer bullies, huh? Looking at the 8 tails, the 2nd tail, and the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows in front of him, Yechin pouted, and immediately, the corners of his mouth rose, and his hands formed a seal. Mu Dun Doppelganger Art. 2 more Yechin doppelgangers were split from Yechin. Yaoi will give it to you. Night Morning Honda looked at the doppelganger on the right. Don't worry. Yoruto's doppelganger nodded and went straight out of Susanoo. Mu Dun. Wooden Man Art. After Yechin came out of Susanoo, he clasped his hands together and drank heavily. Boom, boom. The earth shook again, and then a wooden head no smaller than Susanoo rose up. So, the brigade will be handed over to you again. Yechin Buddha figure said to the doppelganger on the left. No problem, tease the cat, I like it the most. The Yechin doppelganger nodded and said with a smile on his face. Yechin Hanzun smiled, and then, he looked at the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows on Yaoi's head. Let's have a collision that belongs to men. Yechin Hanzun rushed out of Susanoo, and then, under everyone's unbelievable gaze, Yechin's body erupted with a tyrannical thunder chakra. This is the ninja art of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, Thunder Armor. Phew, In the night morning when the thunder armor was opened, the whole person was like a bolt of lightning, and instantly disappeared from everyone's eyes. Boom! An explosion sounded from Yaoi's head. The ninja of Union Village, who had been observing the battle, looked at Yao's head. Immediately, they saw that Yi Chen, who also turned on the thunder armor, had already exchanged hands with the fourth generation of Thunder Shadows. How did you thunder armor? The fist of the fourth generation of Lei Ying collided with Yi Chen's fist, and the two were wrestling. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow felt Yechen's power and the same thunder armor as him, and a pair of eyes like an angry bull stared at Yechen and asked. Yechen smiled slightly, and looked at Lei Ying and spit out two words, "You guess." Quote, "Give me death." The fourth generation of Lei Ying withdrew his fist, and then raised his foot and kicked towards Yi Chen. Seeing this, Yechen's figure flashed and disappeared in place, and immediately after, Yechen appeared on the left side of the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow and kicked Thunder Shadow's waist. Boom! Lei Ying was directly kicked by Yi Chen. And Yechen's figure flashed again, turning into lightning and chasing after him. Meanwhile, Yechen's doppelganger also manipulated Kido to fight with Yao. I saw Yechen standing on the wooden man's head, shook his wrist, looked at the 8 tails and said, "I heard that you are the first-tailed beast under the 9 tails, and I hit the 9 tails. Come, now let's go head-to-head." Quote. Yi Chen's words seemed to be praising Yaoi. However, after Yao listened to Yi Chen's words, 2 white mist erupted from the cow's nose. This is special code. Say it's under the 9 tails. Where is it inferior to that stinky fox? Roar. Little ghost, I'm going to tear you up. Yao was completely furious, roared, and rushed towards Yechen. Good to go. Yechen's fist struck his palm, and immediately, he controlled the wooden man to meet it. Bang! The fists of the 2 behemoths collided together in an instant. Boom! The collision of the 2 fists, the huge power leaked out, forming a shock wave and heading in all directions. Give me death, little ghost. Yao withdrew his right fist, and immediately after, the left hook fist greeted him. Bang! The wooden man Luohan raised his hand to block and directly took the punch of the 8 tails. However, the power of the 8 tails is too strong. Even the wooden man Luohan, after receiving this punch, his huge body stumbled a little. Seeing this, Yao would not miss such an opportunity, and the 8 tentacles were like 8 fists, like a violent storm, attacking the wooden man in unison. Boom, boom, boom. Die. Under the attack of the 8 tentacles, like a violent storm, the wooden man was really beaten and swayed from side to side like an immobile wooden man. Mu done. Wood dragon art. Fa. 3 wooden dragons flew up from the ground and wrapped themselves directly around Yaoi. At this moment, Yao's attack finally stopped. Nima, it's really hot-tempered, it's really suitable for Union Village. The doppelganger of the night morning, standing in rags. On the head of the wooden man who was beaten to pieces, he wiped a cold sweat and looked at Yao, who was bound by the wooden dragon. Just had a good fight, didn't you? Now it's my turn. Quote. Yechen looked at the restrained Yaoi and clasped his hands together, and then the wooden man regained and threw his fist directly at the Yaoi. The other side, Yoruto's other doppelganger, staring at the scarlet kaleidoscope chakra eyes, manipulated Susanoo to also face the 2 tails. The huge Susanoo wielded his double swords and headed towards Neo Yuga. Roar! Neo looked at Susanoo who was rushing towards it, roared, and then, immediately after opening his mouth, a ball of fireball quickly condensed. Boom! A fireball with a radius of about 10 meters, carrying high temperature, flew towards Susanoo who rushed over. In the face of the flying fireball, Susanoo kept speeding, raised his hand, and directly split the huge fireball in half. However, when Susanoo rushed out from the middle of the split fireball, 7 or 8 fireballs of the same size blasted out like cannons. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, the fireballs exploded, forming a sea of fire, and all of a sudden, Susanoo was completely engulfed in flames. Phew! Suddenly, in the sea of fire, a huge blue slash flew out, heading straight for the 2 tails and brigade. Boom, boom, boom. The battle of the 4 behemoths of Kido, Susa, Yaoi, and Nioi caused the earth to shake and dust to fly, like a war between gods and demons. Such a scene made the ninjas of Union Village who retreated again and again feel numb in their scalps and cold sweat. Boom! All Yunren, looking at this scene of the big battle, all subconsciously swallowed their saliva. This What kind of battle is this? Quote, it's really terrifying. Such a battle, it's simply not done by people. Quote, why is that thousand hands night morning so powerful? One actually resisted the siege of Yaoi, Neo, and Lord Thundershadow, is he still human? Quote, yes, this guy stopped Yao and Neo with just his doppelganger, why is his chakra so much? Quote, alas, we can't intervene in such a battle. Looking at such a battle, everyone did not dare to approach the battlefield for half a step, and could only run far away as salted fish. Boom boom. The eight-tailed bull Oni was tightly bound for several days. And Yechin doppelganger, controlling the wooden man like a sandbag, punched Yao's body one punch after another. Awesome, huh, bang, it's cool to smoke through your nose, isn't it? Bang, one more left hook, bang, Yechin stood on the wooden man's head, controlling the wooden man to punch one punch after another, shouting excitedly while hitting. He was venting all these years of suffocation. Although he is only a doppelganger, he has personality and experience, and he is completely another night and morning self. In order to accumulate strength in recent years, he was not less disgusted by Sarutobi and others in Konoha. If he didn't want Konoha to consume his vitality, he would have wanted to directly start a war with the ape-flying sun to kill these disgusting things. It can be said that these Chinese New Year's Eve Chen have already held a breath in his heart. And he was in Konoha, and there was nowhere to breathe, and it almost suffocated him. It's good now. With such a sandbag to vent to, how could he let it go? Yao, on the other hand, was so angry by the night and morning doppelganger that his nose kept blowing. How could it have suffered such humiliation? Even when he fought with that stinky fox, he was never beaten like this. Even the 3 generations that cut off its horns paid a serious price. Wrath, incomparable anger. Little ghost, you give me enough time. The 8-tailed bull ghost completely broke out. I saw that after he roared, the muscles on his body bulged, and he directly broke free from the wooden dragon on his body, and then 8 octopus tentacles wrapped it. This is not good. Retreat. Yechin's face suddenly changed when he saw Yao, who was completely wrapped in tentacles, and quickly manipulated the wooden man to retreat. Not far away, Neo, who was fighting with Susanoo, suddenly turned his head and glanced at Yao, and then a look of horror appeared on the cat's face. Subsequently, the body kept jumping sensitively and away from the battlefield. Defense, quick, all form a defense. Seeing this, the Union ninjas, who had been far away from the battlefield, changed their faces one by one, and the ninjas who took the lead repeatedly ordered defense. Tudin Tuliu Wall, Earth Escape, Earth Wall Art. Boom, boom, more than 2,000 Yun ninja, whether they are proficient in Tudin or not, quickly sealed one by one, releasing Tudin ninjutsu. Thousands of elite ninjas used Tsuchi ninjutsu together, and the effect was terrifying. Almost instantaneously, a thick wall of earth rose in front of these Union ninjas. Roar, tailed beast 8 rolls, completely wrapped in tentacles into an oval-shaped 8-tail, he roared angrily, and then his huge body spun up after opening. Quote, woo, the moment the huge body of the 8 tails rotated, the airflow was driven by it, forming a violent wind. Boom, boom, boom. Yaoi rotates faster and faster, centering on it, forming a suction force, everything around it. Whether it was trees or stones, all of them were swirled by the air current, flying with a rotation. Woo, a huge tornado slowly connected to the sky, as if to connect the sky and the earth. And Yi Chen, who was competing with the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows for speed and strength, was shocked when he saw this scene. Also did not entangle with the 4th generation, and quickly sealed, mud and wood ingot wall. Quote, night morning was wrapped in an oval wooden cover. Bull ghost, this guy has run away. The 4th generation of Thunder Shadow desperately used all his strength to resist the suction of the tornado, and he was a little worried about Kurabi. At this time, Yao was like a huge eye of the wind, and everything around it was swept in. Nima, do you want to play so big? Quote, on the head of the wooden man Luohan, the night-morning doppelganger urged chakra, controlling the wooden man to desperately stabilize his figure, while constantly retreating, wanting to get out of the suction range of the tornado. However, as if with eyes, this tornado kept approaching the wooden man. After the calf, chakra is insufficient. Was thinking about how to crack the night-morning doppelganger of the tornado of the 8 tails, suddenly felt that chakra had bottomed out, his face suddenly changed, and then his whole person slowly turned into a wood carving. And losing the night and morning doppelganger to provide chakra, the wooden man Luohan seemed to have lost his strength, and his huge body was directly swept by the suction of the tornado. Click, click, boom. The wooden man who was caught in the tornado was directly torn apart by the wind, and then exploded and turned into pieces of wood that were tornado into pieces. I don't know how long it took. The wind slowly stopped, and the tornado slowly dissipated. The figure of Yaoi reappeared again. And look at the battlefield at this time. The surrounding area is a mess. The original woods seem to have turned into a desert at this time, and the location where Yao is located has formed a spiral-shaped giant pit. Roar! Yao, who reappeared in shape, raised his head and roared. This time it wasn't an angry rant. Rather, victory in battle, roar of joy. It is worthy of the perfect human pillar force, the combination of tailed beast and human pillar power. The combat power is actually so terrifying. However, let's get carried away. Costume, wooden man art. Just when Yao was proud, a voice reached everyone's ears. When Yao heard this voice, he was immediately stunned, and then looked up at the sky. Immediately, the eight-tailed bull ghost's eyes widened. I saw a wooden man covered in blue armor, holding two knives, slashing down at it. Feel the chill from those two knives. If this is struck, then it will not be split in half. Little 8, remove the tailed beast mode, quick. Inside the consciousness space of Yaoi. Seeing this scene, Kurabi quickly spoke. Nope. If you lift the tailed beast mode, you will be seriously injured if you don't die at that time, or I'll come. Quote. Yao rejects Kurabi's offer, knowing it can't hide. If it resists hard, at most, it is seriously injured and falls into hibernation. But if you let Kurabi out, it's really hard to say whether he can survive. Boom, boom. Seeing that the night-morning wooden man was about to fall, Yao naturally did not wait to die, and the 8 octopus tentacles wrapped it again. Bang! However, before the night-morning Wei Mu man fell, a dark blue figure directly knocked the Wei Mu man in midair out. Brigade again. Yao looked at the figure of the wooden man and released the tentacles that wrapped it. Bull Ghost, join forces. Neo and Brigade landed nimbly beside Yaoi, and a gentle-sounding female voice came out. If this voice was not made by the huge beast with blue flames, I thought it was said by some big sister. Yao really didn't want to join forces with others, but that guy was too difficult. And with kaleidoscopic chakra eyes, as well as Mu Duan, these two are very restrained in the power of their tailed beasts. Now don't you kill him in the cradle while he is fully grown, will he wait until he grows up to play with them? So, for Neo's proposal, it answered. Snap, did you forget me? The 4th generation of Thunder Shadows fell on the head of the 8 tails, and his eyes looked sharply at the wooden man in front of him. HMPH, old boy, if it weren't for Bai's face, just for your actions on my head, I would want to kill you. Quote. Yao didn't get much cold to the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, plus it had just suffered a loss there in the night morning, and it was in a bad mood. Seeing the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow standing on its head again, he snorted coldly and expressed his dissatisfaction. And the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow is not a good-tempered one, and when he hears Yao's words, he has to teach Yao a little lesson. Don't argue, he's coming. When Arao saw these two guys, he was about to start coaxing, and couldn't help but speak. When the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow and Yao heard this, they all looked at the blue wooden man Luohan in front of them. I saw the mighty wooden man Luohan in front of him, holding a knife in both hands and a wooden dragon coiled around his body, rushing towards them. Boom boom. The huge wooden man in Wei Qi, every step on the ground, let the ground continue to shake. Swish. Seeing Yechen controlling the mighty wooden man rushing over, Yao directly took a big mouth, and then ejected 3 small-tailed beast jade in a row. Roar. Boom. The 2 tails on the side were not to be outdone, and the blue body burned with flames, and then, he also opened his mouth and fired several small-tailed beast jades at the Wei Kimu. Good to go. Above the head of the Wei costume wooden man, Yi Chen saw the tailed beast jade flying over, and the momentum of the charge was unabated, controlling the Wei costume wooden man, wielding his 2 swords. Ha! Boom, boom. Several slashes flew out from the double knives and collided directly with several tailed beast jade, and suddenly, bursts of explosions sounded. Phew! The huge wooden man rushed out directly from the gunsmoke, instantly approached Yaoi, and slashed towards Yao's head with his left hand. Seeing this, Arao went directly to the left-hand side of the pretending wooden man and pounced. As if he had expected it, the long knife on his right-hand side cut it backhanded. Arao nimbly dodged the backhand of the Wei costume wooden man, came to the back of the Wei costume wooden man, opened his big mouth, and shot out a huge fireball at the back of the Wei costume wooden man. Boom! The fireball exploded directly behind the mighty wooden man, forming an explosion. In front of the mighty wooden man, its slash towards Yaoi was resisted by the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow with a physical body. Immediately afterwards, Yao saw the opportunity, and 8 tentacles and 2 arms attacked the wooden man like raindrops. Bang! Bang! Click! Click! The attack of the 8 tails fell on the body of the mighty wooden man, and suddenly, pieces of blue armor fragments were knocked down. However, such an attack did no harm to the wooden people themselves. In the attack of the 8 tails, when the Wei wooden man attacked again, the Wei costume wooden man danced a knife flower, instantly cut off the 8 tentacles of the Yaoi, and at the same time kicked out a kick at the Yaoi, directly kicked the Yao over, and then, soared into the air, holding the knife in both hands, towards the 8 tails who fell to the ground, stabbed down. You actually dare to ignore it. The fourth generation of Lei Ying saw that the powerful wooden people chose to ignore him, and at the same time they were very angry. Hell Spurt, Shiban Junju. Boom! The 4 generations of Thunder Shadows shot up, and chakra concentrated on the 4 fingers of his right hand, like a sharp knife, flying towards the mighty wooden man. Bang! Click! The mighty wooden man who was still in midair was directly hit by the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows at the waist position. When the 4 books of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow hit the powerful wooden man, the Susa armor at the waist position of the mighty wooden man was directly penetrated and shattered, and immediately after, the attack of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows fell directly on the wooden man's body. And the wooden man's body was also directly punched out of a hole under this blow of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadows. Then flew out. Boom! The mighty wooden man fell heavily on the ground, churning up the dust. Is this the legendary Hell Spurt? The attack power is really terrifying. Quote. Yi Chen manipulated the pierced wooden man to stand up. However, before Ye Chen could repair the mighty wooden man to attack again, when his gaze fell again in the direction of the 8-tailed, 2-tailed, and 4th generation Thunder Shadows, his face suddenly changed. Eileen, do you want to play so big? After looking in the direction of Yao and the others that night, the whole person was not good. I saw that the 8 tails and the 2 tails at this time were standing on both sides respectively, raising their heads slightly and opening their mouths at the same time. Wang wang, a huge-tailed beast jade, on the top of the head between the 2-tailed beasts, quickly condensed. This tailed beast jade is extremely huge. Before the condensation was completed, it was already larger than the 2-tailed beasts. The dazzling red light emanated from the tailed beast jade, as if it were a sun. Yes, isn't this horse playing tricks? Ye Chen cursed again, and at the same time the uneasiness in his heart surfaced. Good, good, if you want to play, labor and management will accompany you to play to the end. Ye Chen was also completely enraged. 3-1 will not say. Now you still rub such a big ball for me, if you can rub it, I won't, right? Yi Chen controlled the Wei wooden man and inserted his double knives on both sides, and then the huge Wei wooden man raised his right hand. Ha! The blue chakra converged on the palm of the huge wooden man, rotated, and immediately formed a blue sun. Wang! Suddenly, the originally blue chakra ball quickly turned white, and around the white ball, a white halo appeared, like a white shuriken. At the same time, a piercing sound resounded throughout the heavens and the earth. What a horrible chakra! Oh my god! Is this why the tailed beast is called a natural disaster? Quote. The most terrifying thing is that thousand hands night morning, one person against Lord Thunder Shadow, and the 2-tailed beasts can still resist until now, not to mention his Mudun and Sharingan, this chakra amount alone, there is no need for fewer tailed beasts, right? That's right. This night morning is simply a monster, not to mention the strength, the amount of chakra is so terrifying, I think he is a humanoid tailed beast. Quote. Nima also bragged about a fart. Hurry up and run. Didn't you see that Lord Lei Ying is looking far away from the battlefield? Quote. Yes, hurry up and run, Lord Thunder Shadow let us follow, that is, to watch the play. Almost don't say, just stay away from the battlefield one by one, and continue to fight like this. Is it going to exit the country of soup and return to the country of thunder? Quote. Less nonsense, have the strength to speak and run away. Such a terrifying chakra, once it breaks out, maybe it will also affect here. Probably not. This place is more than 10 kilometers away from the battlefield, and we can hardly see the situation of the battlefield now. Quote. It's hard to say, it's better to run a little further. Insurance. The ninjas of Union Village, who retreated again and again, saw two sun-like chakra balls converging from a distance. Feeling the terrifying aura coming out of those two chakra balls is even more terrifying. What a horrible fellow. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow, who was also far away from the battlefield, stood on the top of a small hill, looking at the two giant beasts and a giant in the distance, who were constantly gathering the terrifying chakra, and sighed towards Yechen. Even if he fought with Yi Chen, he had not yet divided the victory and defeat. But he knew that if he fought alone, he would definitely not be Yi Chen's opponent. Moreover, the amount of chakra that was comparable to the tailed beast in Yechen alone completely convinced him. After sighing, a smile suddenly appeared on the rough face of the fourth generation of Lei Ying. Even if you can really defeat the bull ghost and the brigade, what about? When chakra is exhausted, it will be the day of your death. Quote. After that, the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow did not look at the victory or defeat of the two sides, and turned around and walked towards the direction of the Union Ninja Army. Mighty Wooden Man, Wind Escape, Spiral Shuriken. After Yechen finished condensing the Spiral Shuriken, he didn't say much nonsense, and directly pointed it in the direction of Yaoi and Arao, and threw it out. And at the same time, the oversized tailed beast jade that the eight-tailed and two-tailed combined condensation was also completed. The two-tailed beasts directly ejected the oversized tailed beast jade towards the direction of Yechen. Tailed beast jade. Ha, wang wang wang. Two chakra balls, one red and one white, like the sun, flew towards each other. The collision has not yet begun. Where the two passed, on the earth, two deep ravines were plowed. Wang. Finally, these two chakra pills that exuded a terrifying aura collided together. The moment the two collided together, the imaginary explosion did not happen immediately. But at the moment when the two collided together, the whole world seemed to be pressed the pause button, and they all seemed to stand still. Wang. Suddenly, a little white light spread from where the two collided. Immediately afterwards, the whole heaven and earth seemed to turn into daylight. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion occurred. The moment the explosion appeared, the space seemed to be distorted. The space in this area presents a circle of waves. Immediately afterwards, an energy shield formed by the explosion appeared in the center of the explosion, and then the energy shield expanded rapidly, constantly devouring everything around. Well, it's scary, this. Such destructive power is simply terrible. Quote. It's good that we ran far enough, otherwise, this aftermath alone could have killed us. Yes, this is simply terrifying. We are so far away, we can still feel the aftermath of the explosion if we get closer. I can't imagine it. Quote. More than 2,000 Union elite troops felt the continuous shaking of the earth after the explosion, as well as the waves of chi that rushed to their faces, and they all had palpitations. They were all glad that they ran far enough, but they really couldn't imagine it. Lord Lei Ying, it's Lord Lei Ying who is here. Just when these ninjas of Union Village were rejoicing, a voice came into everyone's ears, and then one by one, their eyes looked in one direction. Then, everyone saw that the two good Zhao Dai Lei Ying quickly rushed towards them. Lord Thunder Shadow. 4 generations of adults. Looking at the 4 generations of Thunder Shadows that fell in front of them, these Union ninjas stepped forward one after another. Looking at the intact Union ninjas, the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow nodded, then turned around and looked at the gradually dissipating energy shield. Everyone obeys. Yes. When more than 2,000 people heard this, they answered one by one in high spirits. That guy is not so easy to die. Everyone is spreading in the direction of the battlefield, don't let him run. The 4th generation of Lei Ying shouted loudly with blazing eyes. Yes. Swish. After more than 2,000 elite ninjas listened to the order of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, they answered, and then divided into more than 24 squads and scattered towards the center of the explosion, surrounding the past. HMPH. Night morning, what else can you do? When the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow rushed to the center of the explosion with a small team, it was already calm. At the same time, a deep giant pit also appeared in front of the fourth generation of Lei Ying and others. Looking at the big pit like a sinkhole, including the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow, everyone was silent. Such a power is really terrifying. If such a power falls in any ninja village, I am afraid that this village will be directly wiped out. It is worthy of being a tailed beast called a natural disaster. Lei Ying sighed at the power of the tailed beast, and then said solemnly, then. Having a guy who is comparable to a tailed beast, or even more terrifying than a tailed beast, should not exist in this world. Quote. After sighing, the fourth generation of Lei Ying ordered solemnly, everyone searches carefully, you must not let him run, live to see people, die to see corpses. Quote. Yes. In this way, the ninjas of Union began to shrink the encirclement little by little, centering on that big pit, and kept getting closer. After a while, a voice came into the ears of the fourth generation of Lei Ying. Lord Raikage, find Hiki-sama and Yugi-sama-sama. Hearing this, the fourth generation of Lei Ying hurriedly rushed to the location where the voice came from. Soon, the fourth generation of Thunder Cage saw two pits, unconscious Kurabi and Yugito. After stepping forward to investigate the situation of the two people, he was relieved to find that the injuries on the two people, although they were not light, but they were not life-threatening. Not to mention his feelings for the two, both of them are high-level combat forces in Union Village, if the two of them die like this. That was undoubtedly a serious blow to Union Village. What about the Thousand Hands Night Morning? Found it. Quote. After the fourth generation of Thunder Cage arranged for Kurabi and Yukito to be treated, he looked at a Kami Shinobu on the side and asked. Swoosh. Without waiting for the words of the Shengnin to return to the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow, a figure came to him and reported to the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow, Lord Thunder Shadow, you have found the Thousand Hands Night Morning. Quote. Oh. When the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard this, he was immediately overjoyed, all follow me. Quote. With that, he went straight in the direction where the man who had just spoken came. A moment later, the fourth generation of Thunder Shadow took people and saw the encirclement formed by more than 2,000 cloud ninja. And in the center of the encirclement, Yechin, wrapped in a blue bone frame, was seen, as well as his doppelganger and nervous little Hinata. Yechin, you can't escape, surrender, or that sentence, as long as you surrender my Union Village, your status in Union Village in the future will only be lower than mine. At the same time, if you can get the recognition of the village, I can abdicate to you as a Thunder Shadow. Looking at the night morning surrounded by it, the fourth generation of Lei Ying once again loved talent. No way. Yi Chen's strength, as well as his potential, is really terrifying. If he can join Union Village can definitely crush the entire ninja realm. As long as it can make Union Village rise completely, what about letting Yechin be a Thunder Shadow? Have to say, the ape flying sun slash is really incomparable with the fourth generation of Thunder Shadows. Union Village has such a Thunder Shadow, no wonder the people of Union Village are so united. Ha! Yechin heard Lei Ying's solicited words again, and a smile appeared on his face. Seeing this, the fourth generation of Lei Ying thought that he agreed to his proposal, and he was also very happy in his heart. However, Yi Chen's next words made him angry again. I admire you very much, and if you are under my wing, you will be a good player. When Lei Ying heard Yi Chen's words, he smiled angrily. Yi Chen, you can see the current situation clearly, you have been surrounded by us, presumably, your chakra has been almost consumed, right? Do you really think that with your current situation, you can still escape our encirclement? Quote. The fourth generation of Lei Ying clasped his hands to his chest, looking like he had eaten the night. Yechin had just been fighting with him and the two-tailed beasts for so long. Even if he has a huge amount of chakra, but after fighting for so long, even the tailed beast can't stop it, right? Indeed, when Yechin heard this, he bowed his head slightly and muttered, such a high-intensity battle has almost exhausted my chakra. Quote. When the four generations of Thunder Shadow and the surrounding cloud ninja heard this, their faces all showed smiles. This monster is finally going to be caught. Just thinking about it, after Yi Chen's next sentence, the smile on everyone's faces froze. I saw Yechin slowly raise his head, scan everyone around, and then make a seal, However, it is more than enough to cast one more ninjutsu. Quote. 0 for flowers 0. The just frozen smiles of the thunder shadows and the cloud ninja came back to their senses. Everyone was unimpressed by the ninjutsu that Yechin was going to perform. They had just seen the battle in the morning. They felt that even if Chakra was performing ninjutsu now, it was just some low-level ninjutsu. Even if Yechin is just dying now. Mu done, Flower Tree Realm has arrived. In front of everyone's eyes, the Night Morning finished the seal, and his hands were clasped together. Boom, boom, boom. The earth began to shake and shake constantly. All Yun Shinobi, including Lei Ying, was stunned. Nima said that the good chakra is exhausted, and can only use a low-level ninjutsu to die throws. What's going on with this movement? Is this the movement that low-level ninjutsu can cause? Swish. Just when the ninjas of Union Village were shocked, huge vines broke out of the ground, as if they had life, and attacked these Yunin. It's Mu done again, get out of the way. Don't get caught by the vines, be careful. These vines are quite large, but they are easy to avoid. What's going on? Quote. Haha, do you need to say more? It must be that guy can't do it, this wooden ninjutsu looks like it's moving, but it's just a bluffing ninjutsu. Quote. It makes sense, hehe, when he runs out of chakra, I see how arrogant he is. The ninjas of Union Village. Originally, seeing Yechin make such a big movement again, every trumpet was terrified. After all, the scene of fighting against the two-tailed beasts just night and morning is still vividly remembered. However, when they dodged the vine attack with fear, they found out. The movement made by these vines is indeed very large, and against some lower ninja and low-level middle ninja, these vine attacks are undoubtedly devastating. However, to deal with these elite ninjas, it is not enough to see. Each of them can easily dodge the vine's attack. Yi Chen, who clasped his hands together and clenched his fists, heard these Yun Ren's words, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. The vine is only secondary, and the real feast is still to come. Quote. Boom, boom, click, click. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadow opened the Thunder Dun armor, and several hand knives split the vines that were attacking him, and then, he looked at these elite ninjas in Union Village. Seeing these elite ninjas, this vine came and went freely, and even when he still had time to chat, his brows furrowed. Is Chakra really exhausted? The fourth generation of Thunder Shadows dodged the attack of the vine while looking in the direction of Yechin. When he saw Yi Chen's face with a faint smile, his heart clicked. Not good. The fourth generation of Thunder Shadows was just about to make an early warning, when on top of the vines, bright flowers and bones appeared. Wow! One by one, the flower bones bloomed, and then, a stream of pale yellow pollen instantly covered this area. It's so fragrant. Yes. Could it be that this ninjutsu is used to purify the environment? Well, not to mention, the air is, 377, a lot fresher. Quote. Yaga, these pollen are poisonous, all hold your breath. Ah, despicable, actually. Unexpectedly poisoned, I was so dizzy, I was poisoned. Quote. What kind of poison is this? Unexpectedly, it can even affect the flow of chakra. Plop plop. When countless pale yellow pollen pervades this area. Those Yun ninja, who were originally a little scornful of Yechin's ninjutsu, were dizzy, their eyes were Venus, and the chakra in their bodies seemed to be disturbed by something, and they didn't listen to them at all. And as they inhaled more pollen, one by one began to fall into a coma. The fourth generation of Lei Ying turned on the Lei Dun chakra mode, preventing pollen from entering the body, watching his subordinates, falling one by one, angry at the same time, and his heart was full of fear. This is all the heritage of Union Village. If they all died here, the consequences would be unbelievable. Despicable. The fourth generation of Lei Ying also felt a little dizzy at this time, and his strong body was even more shaky. He had just inhaled pollen, and if it weren't for his strong physique, he would have started to pass out by now. Despicable. Yechin heard the words of the fourth generation of Lei Ying, and immediately laughed. You are not mean if you bully the less, and I will be despicable with a poison. Do you want to be so double standard? Quote. When the fourth generation of Lei Ying heard this, he was a little speechless. They had indeed bullied more and less just now. But doesn't the ninja world pay attention to the law of the jungle? As long as it can achieve the goal, can it be integrated with a little meanness? It's just that he despises others, and he doesn't care in his heart. But after the role was changed, this made him a little unbearable. However, he is the shadow of Union Village, although Union Village does not like those intrigues and tricks, but as a shadow, his face is also strong enough. Therefore, hearing Yechin say that he was double standard, he was also stunned for a while, and immediately came back to his senses. The thunder chakra on his body rioted, clenched his fists, and looked at Yechin with solemnity. Success and defeat, but if you want to move laborers and capitalists, you must step over my body. Quote. Yechin looked at the 4 generations of Thunder Shadow who stopped in front of him, and then looked behind him, as well as at Yunren, who was lying on the ground and fell into a coma, shook his head slightly, and then took the little Hinata who had been making no trouble and tears from Mu Duan's doppelganger. The 4 generations of Thunder Shadow were ready to fight to the death with Yi Chen. Suddenly seeing Yechin turn around, as if he meant to leave, he was immediately stunned. You just left. The 4th generation of Lei Ying's somewhat stunned Chao Yechin's back asked this. After asking, he really wanted to punch himself. Nima, people are leaving. What more mouth do I have? Yechin hugged Xiao Hinata and was about to leave, when he suddenly heard the words of the 4th generation of Lei Ying. He turned around slightly, and said lightly, I played very well today, so I will let you guys go once, and I won't have this opportunity next time. Cherish your lives. Quote. Saying that, Yechin gave the 4th generation of Lei Ying a cold back and left. The 4th generation of Lei Ying heard Yi Chen's words and clenched his fists. When had he ever suffered such pity? He wanted to rush up and fight Yechin to the death, but seeing Yunren lying all around him, he stopped and roared at Yechin's back full of grievance. Night morning, today's humiliation, he will pay it back every day. After the 4th generation of Lei Ying finished this sentence, he paused, and then began to roar again. The people of my Union Village are not people who don't know how to be evil. We have written down this matter today. He will fall into our hands on the day. We will also let you go. Quote. The voice of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow was very loud, and he had left the night morning for a distance, and at first he heard the voice of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow. His body trembled slightly, and then, after listening to the words of the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, he accelerated his departure speed again. It's a man, but unfortunately, it's Konoha's people. Looking at the night morning that had become a small dot, the 4th generation of Lei Ying sighed. Turned around to check on the situation of those Yunnan. An hour later, in the morning of the night, I finally stopped under a big tree. 0. Nima, I thought that reckless man was going to catch up. Yechin held Xiao Hinata, leaned against the tree trunk, wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and sighed in relief. Originally, the night morning has already reached its limit. In today's battle, he had been fighting with 2-tailed beasts, a shadow-level peak for so long. Although it seems to have the upper hand, it can even be said that it won them. But it also made his chakra almost exhausted, and even the recovery speed of the immortal body could not keep up. The flower tree realm he had just used had arrived, and the only remaining chakra had already been drained. Otherwise, if the flower tree realm descends on this wooden ninjutsu, it will just attack with pollen. No kidding. You know, between the 1,000-hand pillars of that year, it came to the flower tree realm and directly trapped the 9 tails. And it's still the 9 tails of Wei Qi. Although his current strength is still not comparable to the 1,000-hand pillars, if the flower tree realm comes in its heyday, none of those Yun shinobi can be spoken. Of course, Yechin can also use the Immortal Experience card obtained from the system. However, this Immortal Mode Experience card, but his current whole card, is not a last resort. He really doesn't want to use it. Moreover, this battle is of little significance. He still hasn't controlled Konoha. Even if he captures Yaoi and Neo, with the nature of Ape Flying Sun, he will only care for a while in the end. Instead of wasting a whole card, it is better to pretend to be AB and leave. Hinata, are you all right? Now that it's safe, have you been scared? Quote. After a breath of relief 2.5. Yonata put Hinata down, and asked with a smile on his tired face. Little Hinata grabbed the corner of his clothes, his little face still had tear stains, looked at Yechin, and did not speak. What's wrong? Freaked out. Seeing Hinata like this in the morning at night, I was a little flustered. Shouldn't I be scared of something? When Xiao Hinata heard this, he shook his little head, and his whole face suddenly turned red. She lowered her head slightly, not daring to look at Yechin, and then, in her weak voice, she said, "Night. Brother Yechin, I heard Sister Ju Shinai say that after a girl is rescued, if the boy who rescues her is very good looking, long growing up it's to be a promise, when I grew up, I just. Yi Chen heard the little Hinata's voice like a mosquito fly, and suddenly his head was full of black lines. Yes, Ju Shinai has reproduced her experience and the deeds with him to Hinata. But, I have to say, well done Ju Shinai, Konoha village. 2 days and 1 night had passed since Yechin chased Yunin and left Konoha. The 2 days and 1 night of Konoha village can be described as an undercurrent. Especially, it's been 2 days and 1 night. There was no news of the night morning, and the atmosphere of the entire Konoha became strange. Another day passed. Around 9 o'clock in the evening, inside the clan of the Thousand Hands clan. Makoto, no news yet. Ju Shinai walked around the hall, looking in the direction of the gate from time to time. It's been 2 days since night morning left, almost 2 nights. At the speed of the night morning, this is almost out of the country of fire, right? Nope. At this time, in the hall, in addition to Kushina, there were also Uchiha Makoto, Sunset Red, Red Bean, and some little Naruto who was sitting obediently on the side. And not long after Yechin left, the atmosphere in Konoha village changed. There is a feeling that the wind and rain are coming. Not yet. When Ju Shinai heard this, she was a little disappointed, but soon, her emotions converged, and her face was solemn. How are you Uchiha clans now? Can Fugaku get those guys in 20? Quote. It's still quite peaceful, and I haven't done anything excessive for the time being. However, these people are now uniting with other clans and intend to re-elect their chiefs. Quote. Uchiha Makoto's face was also extremely solemn. In recent years, the Uchiha clan can be said to have completely united with the Senju clan due to Uchiha Fugaku. However, there cannot be only one voice in a large family. In the past, there was such an existence as Yechin who inherited the power of the first generation to suppress, and some people only felt that they were talking in secret. However, since Yechin left Konoha, and news came out, Yechin was ambushed and intercepted by the 4th generation of Thunder Shadow, the 8-tailed human pillar force, and the 2-tailed human pillar force of Union Village. Some of the jumping beam clowns in the secret couldn't hold back. Especially under the provocation of Sarutobi Hinata and others, the Uchiha clan split into 2 factions. One faction is naturally led by Uchiha Fugaku and supports the Yechin family. The other faction is led by several elders of the Uchiha clan, and stands in the Ape Flying Sun. And now, the line of Apes Flying Sun is making a fuss in the Uchiha clan. In fact, this situation is not only the problem of the Uchiha family. In addition to the 3 clans of Pig Deer Butterfly, other small families that originally supported Yechin also had differences under the news that Yechin left and was even ambushed and killed. This family disagreement, except for Uchiha Fugaku being forced into the palace. Hyuga Hiyashi in the Hyuga clan also faced the persecution of the elders. However, due to the system of the Hyuga clan, the clan only has so many people, and the movement is not as big as the Uchiha clan. No wonder Yechin has not lifted the table. It turns out that there are so many hidden dangers in these families. Ju Shinai slammed the table and said hatefully. She now finally understood why Yechin Mingming had the support of most of the Konoha village's family. But they didn't do anything to the Ape Flying Sun. It turned out that Yechin had long seen the problem of the existence of these families. Fortunately, Yechin did not make a move, otherwise, once there is a chaos in these families at a critical moment, it will only be hard to come at that time. However, in this way, Konoha's vitality must be greatly damaged, which is not what Yechin wants. Madam, Patriarch Luju, Patriarch Dingza, Patriarch Haiyi is here. At this moment, Oda walked in respectfully and said respectfully to Ju Shinai. Oh, why are they here? Doesn't it mean to prevent apes from flying and slashing them? Quote. When Ju Shinai heard Mita's words, he froze slightly, and then quickly said, let them come in. Quote. When Oda heard this, he answered and walked out again. Soon, Nara Shikahisa, Akamichi Choza, Yamanaka Haichi, hurried in. Ju Shinai saw the hurried expressions of the 3 people, and his heart clicked, and then he quickly asked, did something happen? Look at your hurry. Quote. Something is wrong with the situation, and the Tuanzang led people to surround the entire Uchiha clan. Naruto didn't talk too much nonsense, and after seeing Ju Shinai, he quickly spoke. What? Danzo led people to surround Uchiha. How dare he? Quote. Ju Shinai, Makoto, and Sunset Red and Red Bean were all taken aback when they heard this. You know, the current Uchiha family is not like the Thousand Hands family, and there are few people who can use it at all. Although the current Uchiha family has been suppressed, its combat effectiveness is still there. Now that Tuanzo has led people around Uchiha, is this ape flying sun chopper about to start moving? Phew. Nara Shikaku took a deep breath to calm himself down, and then, with a solemn face, he said, it's not just that there is a problem on Uchiha's side, but there are more than a dozen small families that support Yechin. Except for the three of us, there is a rebellion within all the families. Quote. Speaking of this, Naruto paused, and then said, these incidents, needless to say, are all ghosts caused by apes flying to the sun, and their purpose is obviously you. Or the entire Thousand Hands family. Quote. After Nara Shikaku finished speaking, he looked at Jushina with a somewhat complicated expression. He really didn't expect things to get to this point. Originally, a kidnapping incident of Miss Hinata rose to 120 to Konoha's civil unrest. Moreover, I don't know if I am alive or dead tonight, and the ape flying sun slash is even more mobile. Phew. Nara Shikaku exhaled again, and then said with a solemn face, Ju Shinai, you take Naruto now immediately, they leave Konoha, I think, they will start tonight, or tomorrow. You guys leave Konoha, if night morning is okay, then you can come back, if night morning. Nara Shikahisa said at the end and closed his mouth. Leave Konoha. When Ju Shinai heard this, he was stunned for a moment, and then shook his head. No, I can leave with little Naruto, but these people from the Senju clan can't leave at all. Once I leave Konoha, Sarutobi will definitely do something to these people of the Senju clan in the name of defection. These people are the last members of the Thousand Hands clan. If all these people are dead, how can I face the night? Quote. After Nara Shikaku and the others listened, they fell silent one by one. As Ju Shinai said, once Ju Shinai leaves Konoha, none of these people in the Senju clan can survive. Madam, it's not good, 3 generations of Hokage have surrounded us. At this moment, Oda, who had just gone out, hurried back again. What? Ape flying sun chop is coming. And brought people to surround us. Quote. When Ju Shinai heard Oda's words, he immediately exclaimed. Just said that the ape flying sun slash they may make a move on the Thousand Hands clan, but I didn't expect it to come so quickly. Yes, ma'am, 3 generations have already brought people in. Oda said with some trepidation. Okay. Unexpectedly broke in directly, this is going to tear the face. Quote. After hearing this, Ju Shinai was directly angry. Without even a notification, they brought people in directly, is this eating them? HMPH. I wanted to see, what does he want to do? Ju Shina said this, but after speaking, he turned his head to look at Makoto. Makoto, Naruto please take care of you. Quote. Saying that, without waiting for Uchiha Makoto to reply, Kushina walked up to Naruto, who was a little sleepy, and put his hand on Naruto's little head. Naruto, sister has something to go out, in the next period of time, will you follow Aunt Makoto? Quote. Ju Shinai's tone is very gentle, this kid was brought up by her, although he is usually very naughty, he also makes him call himself his sister. However, watching him grow from a little doubting who can only cry to the point where he is now running all over the ground. Deep down, he already treats him like his own child. Now that Yechin is alive or dead, the ape flying sunchop has brought people over again. She was afraid that she would not come back this time. And if she can't come back, Naruto, as the pillar force of the young nine-tailed man, ape flying sun slash they will definitely not let him go. So, in the current situation, handing him over to Uchiha Makoto is the best outcome. Although now the Uchiha family also has a kind of insecure appearance. But she believed that Makoto would have a way to leave Konoha with Naruto if that time came. After Ju Shina finished speaking to Naruto, he saw that Naruto just lowered his head and did not reply to her words. She didn't mind either, and after rubbing Naruto's head fiercely, she got up and turned to the door to reassure. Just about to lift his legs and leave, he suddenly felt that the corner of his clothes was pulled by someone. Ju Shinai turned slightly and looked down, and then saw that little Naruto was pulling the corner of her clothes, looking up at her with teary eyes. "Can you not leave?" Little Naruto looked at Ju Shinai's gaze, and said to Ju Shinai with a hint of pleading. Seeing this, Ju Shinai also had red eyes, but she still squeezed out a smile and said, "No, my sister has very important things to do, I have to go." Little Naruto obediently followed Aunt Makoto, "And it won't be long before my sister will come back with your brother in the night. Be obedient and don't be naughty anymore." Quote. Rubbing Naruto's head again, Ju Shina was ruthless and turned to leave. Little Naruto looked at the back of Ju Shinai's departure. Tears could not stop flowing. He clenched his fists tightly and muttered in a low voice, "It's all those villains, it's all them. Little ghost, do you want power? The power to level everything." Quote. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Naruto's mind. Who is it?" Quote. When little Naruto heard this sudden voice, he was immediately shocked. Then, his eyes flickered, and he found that he was in a dim underground waterway-like place. In front of him, a huge iron cage appeared. Suddenly, in the darkness behind the iron cage, a pair of red eyes full of evil and strange aura appeared in the darkness like two lanterns. Ghost, where had little Naruto seen such a scene? Suddenly, he exclaimed in fright. "Little ghost, if you shout again, Uncle Ben will eat you." Behind the iron cage, a fiery red, huge nine-tailed demon fox appeared. At this time, this nine-tailed demon fox was lying on the ground, staring at a pair of red eyes, looking at him deadly. Fox. Quote. After seeing clearly the nine-tailed fox behind the iron cage, little Naruto was stunned for a moment, and then, jumped up, pointed at the nine-tailed and shouted, "You are the nine-tailed demon fox that the people in the village say. It's all you, it's all you, it's all because of you, the people in the village hate me, it's all you." Roar. Looking at Naruto who was pointing fingers at it, the nine tails roared angrily. Suddenly, little Naruto quieted down, slumped on the ground, and looked at the nine tails with a terrified face. "Little ghost, don't take an inch." The head of the nine tails, clinging to the iron cage, stared at little Naruto. Boom. Looking at the nine tails with such a huge size, little Naruto swallowed his saliva and did not dare to speak again. Seeing that the nine tails were almost frightened, its tone was slightly slower, and it said in a demagogic voice, "Little ghost, do you want to have great power? Want to save your sister? Do you want those villains to be afraid of you and dare not scold you again? How about we make a deal if you want?" Quote. Kushina took a deep breath, nodded to Uchiha Makoto, Nara Shikaku and the others, and then strode out of the mansion of the night morning. Just out of the night morning mansion, Ju Shina saw the scene of hundreds of Konoha ninjas, led by Sarutobi Hinata, surrounding the night morning mansion. 3 generations of old men, what do you mean by this? Surround my Thousand Hands clan for no reason, what is this for? Quote. Ju Shinai looked at it with anger in his heart, and the ape wearing a dark black armor flew to the sun. Ju Shinai, I have received a report that the Senju clan has colluded with Union Village and wants news that is unfavorable to Konoha, so please go back with me to investigate clearly. Ape Fei-ri looked at Ju Shinai with a solemn expression. HMPH, why is there no excuse for wanting to add to the sin? You say that I colluded with the Senju clan. Do you have proof? Quote. Kushina knew that this was an excuse for Sarutobi to do something to them, but she was also thinking about stalling for time so that Makoto could take Naruto and them out of the secret passage. There will be proof, but you must come with us now. Ape Fei-ri frowned, still holding the righteousness, and said, "What if I say no?" Seeing this, Ju Shinai knew that he really couldn't be good, squinted slightly, and stared at the ape flying sun and said word by word. When Ape Fei-ri heard this, the corners of his mouth rose slightly, and then, with a condensed look Nuo Lijiao, he said heavily, Ju Shinai, don't make it difficult for me, obediently cooperate with us to investigate clearly, as long as you are innocent, Konoha will not do anything to you. Quote. After that, he said indifferently, if you resist arrest, the consequences will be very serious. Quote. The ape flies to the sun, less fake there, the old lady looks disgusting, what tricks are all out? Ju Shinai was really disgusted by the face of the ape flying sun, and he simply didn't want to ink it, so he directly opened it. Meanwhile, on her body, a layer of red chakra coat slowly emerged. Nine-tailed chakra. Looking at the red chakra coat on Jushinai's body, Ape-Face Sun's expression became serious. However, today's Senju clan must become history, only to see him wave his big hand and directly order. The Senju clan colluded with outsiders and caused serious losses to Konoha, and Uzumaki Jushinai resisted arrest, and now orders to forcibly resist arrest. Quote. Yes. Hearing the order of the ape-flying sun, the surrounding ninjas responded in unison, looked at Jushinai one by one, and prepared to blast up. And Jushinai is also ready for a battle, and the red chakra on her body is becoming more and more intense. Behind her, the original red chakra tail slowly turned into two. And with the appearance of the second tail, the third tail also began to pop out. At this time, the originally light red chakra slowly turned crimson. Jushinai is also ready to plan desperately. Boom. However, just as the two sides were about to make a move, the mansion in the night morning burst into a loud noise, and then the entire mansion turned into ruins. Hearing the movement behind him, Jushinai turned his head to look. Ape-Fei Re-Chop and the others, at this time, also looked behind Jushinai. Roar! A small red figure rose up from the ruins, and at the same time, a beast-like roar reached everyone's ears. Swish! Meanwhile, 640. Several black shadows also flew out of the ruins and landed beside Jushinai. These people are none other than Makoto Uchiha, Shika Hisanara, and Yuri Hong. Makoto. When Kusina saw Uchiha Makoto and the others, she was immediately stunned. Didn't she leave with Naruto? Now how? Sorry, Jushinai, it was I who didn't look favorably on Naruto, and the nine tails in Naruto's body ran away. Uchiha Makoto looked at Kushina with a guilty face and said. Although the nine-tailed storm is none of her business, her best friend has just handed over people to her to take care of on her front foot, and there is a problem with her back foot, and she is naturally extremely guilty. What? The nine-tailed storm is gone. Quote. Jushinai was shocked when he heard this, and suddenly looked at the small figure flying out of the ruins. Hearing the nine tails storming away, not only Jushinai was shocked. Ape-Flying Sun Chopper and the others were also panicked. It has only been more than 3 years since the Nine Tails Rebellion, and the fear brought to them by the Nine Tails has not completely dissipated. Could it be that you are going to experience that nightmare again? Ape-Face Suncho's face was equally ugly. Today he came to catch Jushinai. In fact, he thought that the Nine Tails might run away. But when the Nine Tails really wanted to run away, he was also bottomless for a while. All ready, also, notify the sealing class, prepare for action, and reseal the Nine Tails. The ape who had long expected that the Nine Tails might run away was naturally brought the sealing class over. Yes, after answering a word, the dark part went down to convey the order of the Ape-Flying Sun. After giving the order, Ape-Flying Sun Chopper looked solemnly at the dark red figure that fell on a roof. I saw that on a roof not far away. The little Naruto, who was completely wrapped in dark red chakra, was watching them on all fours. And behind little Naruto, 3 tails swayed in the wind. In addition to these 3 long tails, there is also a small tail, which is slowly popping out. At the same time, little Naruto's skin, corroded by the hot chakra, revealed a blood-red patch under the skin, and no flesh was visible. It seems that the little Naruto at this time is not a person at all, but a monster composed of red chakra. Naruto. When Jushinai saw Naruto like this, his heart ached. Naruto, who was like a small-tailed beast, heard Jushinai's shout, and he was obviously stunned, and a pair of beast pupils looked at Jushinai. Jushinai, sister. Quote. Seeing the figure of Kushina, Naruto seemed to regain a trace of sanity. Naruto-sama. However, at this moment, more than 100 caffeine ninjas came to Sarutobi-san. The sudden addition of more than 100 people immediately attracted Naruto's attention. When Naruto's gaze fell on Sarutobi Hinata, the trace of sanity he had just recovered was instantly engulfed. Bad guys, you're all bad guys, kill. Killed you all. As little Naruto's sanity was completely engulfed, the skin on his body was all burned by the hot chakra, and the whole person turned red, like a terrible monster. Roar, rumble, Naruto, who was really turning into a small-tailed beast, roared at the Ape-Flying Sun and the others, and then flew out like a cannonball. Not good. Sealing the 4 purple sun formations, everyone else retreated. Quote. Sarutobi saw Naruto flying towards him, and ordered loudly as he stepped back with his hands sealed. When the surrounding ninjas heard this, they instantly dispersed, and immediately after, a dozen ninjas from the sealing class stood in 4 positions and began to seal the seal. Naruto, who had turned into a small-tailed beast, seemed to have identified the ape flying sun slash, and the others did not pay attention to it, only the bad guy of the ape flying sun slash in his eyes. The children of the ninja world are relatively precocious, although Naruto is only 3 years old. But he had already begun to understand a lot of truth. Especially when he was ostracized by the people in the village, and only the Senju clan and Jushinai and others treated him well, he knew better what kind of people were worthy of his cherishing. And Yechin, because of his strange thinking in his previous life, felt that Naruto was so big that he definitely couldn't remember it. Therefore, sometimes when he cursed the ape flying Sunchop, and discussed the shameless behavior of the ape flying Sunchop with Jushinai, he did not avoid Naruto, but he did not know that the little Naruto remembered all the words of the night morning in his heart. At the same time, because of this, Ape Flying Sun is the worst villain in the world in his heart. Coupled with the actions of tonight Ape Flying Sun Chopper and others, it made little Naruto completely hate Ape Flying Sun Chopper. Therefore, even if he has lost his mind, little Naruto has already carried the hatred in his heart, and his body instinctively wants to tear the Ape Flying Sun. Tuden Tuliu Wall. The ape flying sun, who was constantly retreating, saw Naruto, who had turned into a small-tailed beast, come to him, suddenly stopped and pressed to the ground. Boom! In front of the ape flying sun, a thick earthen wall rose. Roar! Little Naruto roared, and immediately after, a punch slammed over. Boom! The thick earthen wall was directly fisted by Naruto. Bang to pieces. However, the earthen wall was shattered, which also made his forward steps pause. And it was this time that gave the ape the opportunity to fight back. Tuden, Tuliu River. Boom, boom, boom. With the ape flying sun's loud scream, the earth under Naruto's feet quickly turned into a river of earth, directly washing Naruto back. Another earth wave directly swept Naruto into the earth river. Roar! In the earth river, Naruto roared, and then rushed out of the earth river, and immediately, Naruto was like a running beast, directly on the earth river, running towards the ape flying sun. Tuden Earth Dragon Bullet Art. Looking at Naruto who was rushing towards him, Sarutobi made a seal without hurry, and then, on the earth river in front of him, a dragon's head rose. The dragon head opened its mouth wide, spit out earth balls and flew towards Naruto. Ninjutsu, Fire Dragon Bullet Technique. Boom! Sarutobi opened his mouth, flames spit out of his mouth, and landed on the earth balls spit out by the earth dragon's head, and then these earth balls turned into fireballs, like cannonballs, flying towards Naruto. Bang bang! Facing the flying fireball, Naruto grabbed it in front of him. In an instant, a huge claw composed of red chakra directly shattered the flying fireball, and then an acceleration quickly came to the ape flying Sunchop, raised its claw, and shot down towards the ape flying sun. Poof! Naruto, who had already tailed the beast, went down with this claw, and the ape flying sun slash was directly torn into several pieces. Roar! Looking at the ape flying sun chop that was torn into pieces by himself, Naruto raised his head excitedly and roared. Fire Dragon Flame Bomb. However, at this moment, in the sky, the sound of apes flying and slashing sounded. And the ape flying sun chop that had just been torn apart by Naruto turned into a lump of dirt. Boom! A fire dragon composed of flames blasted down from the air towards Naruto below. Bang! Moment. Naruto's location turned into a sea of fire. 4 purple sun array. Meanwhile, around the entire Thousand Hands clan station, a translucent purple light curtain rose on all sides. Jushinai, aren't we going to make a move yet? Looking at the rising 4 purple sun array, and then at Naruto who was engulfed in fire, Uchiha Makoto asked with concern. Jushinai squinted his eyes slightly, his gaze kept looking at the position engulfed by the sea of fire, for a long time, then slowly said, "Wait, we want to get out now, it's best to catch that old monkey." However, now Naruto's situation, you can also see, if we join in, I am afraid that he will also treat us as enemies. Quote. But aren't you worried that the Nine Tails will continue to go on a rampage? Makoto Uchiha is still extremely worried. Alas, it's useless to worry, now we rush up, it will only be more troublesome. Wait and see, I will seal the 9 tails first when there is a chance. Quote. Ju Shinai sighed and said helplessly. If it was just the 9-tailed rampage inside Naruto's body, she alone could seal it. However, there were also Ape Flying Sun Chopping and others present. If she made a move to seal the 9 tails, she dared to guarantee that the old monkey would definitely strike. At that point, they really have to tie their hands. And let's talk about the Ape Flying Sun Chopping here. Standing on the roof of a building, Sarutobi looked at Naruto, who was completely engulfed in flames. He did not relax, but his face became a little more solemn. Here it comes. Suddenly, Ape Fairy's eyes widened sharply, and then a jump left the place. Swoosh. At the moment when Ape Flying Sun Chopper had just left, a basketball-sized, dark red chakra ball flew out of the sea of fire and landed directly on the location where Ape Flying Sun Chopper had just been. Bang! The moment this chakra ball landed on the roof, it suddenly exploded, directly blowing the entire waste into ruins. Swish! Another whistling sound came out, and immediately, one after another, small-tailed beast Jade shot towards the Ape Flying Sun. Ape Flying Sun Chopper made a mark while running at high speed. 0 for flowers 0. Fire escape. Phoenix Immortal Fire Art. Boom, 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 boom. Ape Fei Sun spat out fireballs one after another, all of which collided with the flying chakra balls. Suddenly, all the chakra balls that flew towards the Ape Flying Sun were all intercepted. It's worthy of Naruto-sama. The use of ninjutsu has reached such a point, even the tailed beast Jade of the 9 tails can intercept it. It's really powerful. Yes, I didn't expect that after a few years, Naruto-sama's strength has not only not decreased, but has also improved. With Naruto-sama's current strength, even if he is completely in the 9 tails, he is not afraid, right? Outside the 4 purple sun array, the ninjas of the Ape Flying Sun series, except for the dark part who were silent one by one, the other ninjas saw that the Ape Flying Sun actually intercepted the tailed beast Jade of the 9 tails with fire, and all sighed one by one. There are even a few guys who brag and don't blush, and have already said that Hokage can fight against the full-body 9 tails. Roar. Perhaps seeing his own attack, unable to damage the Ape Flying Sun, Naruto, who was still in the fire, suddenly roared. Immediately afterwards, a wave of chi directly blew all the surrounding flames away. Immediately, under the gaze of everyone, Naruto, who looked like a small 9-tailed, got on all fours, raised his head slightly, and opened his mouth. Father. Blue, purple, and red chakra particles converged in front of Naruto's mouth, and immediately, these chakra particles converged together and condensed into a dark purple chakra ball. Oops, not good. The ape flew to the sun, and Ju Shinai and the two saw this scene and exclaimed at the same time. Sarutobi stood in place, his hands quickly sealed, ready to meet Naruto's blow. And Ju Shinai rushed directly towards Naruto. Ju Shinai. Seeing this, Uchiha Makoto exclaimed, and then followed behind Ju Shinai. Ju Shinai, are you crazy? Now Naruto has lost his mind, and he is still condensing such a terrifying chakra. You go over now, if Naruto will kill you by mistake. Quote. Makoto Uchiha chased after Kushina while shouting. Makoto, there is no time to delay. Naruto's body is still so small, even if he has the resilience of the Uzumaki clan, if he uses this overloaded chakra attack, his body will collapse directly. When Ju Shinai said this, his speed increased a little, and in a moment, he came to Naruto's side. King Kong blockade. Whoops. Golden chains shot out from Ju Shinai's body, directly towards Naruto, who was condensing the virtual dog cannon, and wrapped around. Entangled in golden chains, Naruto instantly stopped condensing the virtual dog cannon, and then, turning his head, a pair of eyes that were emitting white light, three, looked at Ju Shinai. Little Naruto, wake up, don't let the 9 tails control your mind. Seeing Naruto looking at her, Kushina quickly spoke, trying to awaken some of his sanity. And when Naruto turned his head and saw Ju Shinai's face, and heard this familiar voice, he was obviously stunned and seemed to be lost in thought. Seeing this, Ju Shinai was overjoyed, thinking that it was her words, and quickly spoke again. Little Naruto, you are naughty again, be careful if I spank you. HMPH, if you are disobedient again, your brother will look good when he comes back in the night. Quote. Ju Shinai used his usual tone of teaching Naruto to just want to continue to wake him up. After all, this kid is only more than 3 years old, and there are not many things that can be remembered deeply. And the thing Naruto remembers deeply, except for being naughty and being chased by her for a few days, is the education of love given by Yechin. Naruto, who was standing in place, heard Ju Shinai's words, and actually subconsciously covered his butt with his paws, and then, hearing Yechin's name, his whole body trembled. Well, these are the sequelae of having received the education of love, and there is not much problem. When Ju Shinai saw Naruto's action of covering his butt, he immediately grinned, and said in his heart, her education with Yechin is still very good. Therefore, Ju Shinai intends to take advantage of the victory to pursue and prepare to seal the chakra of the 9 tails. Naruto. Swoosh. Ju Shinai, be careful. Just about to approach Naruto and seal the 9-tailed chakra, suddenly, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Ju Shinai's body. At the same time, Uchiha Makoto's voice came over. The person who came was none other than the ape flying sun. Sarutobi did not directly attack Naruto first, but directly cast a sealing technique on Kusanai. In his opinion, although Naruto was able to storm away, he exerted the power of the 9 tails. But Naruto is still young after all, and the strength that bursts out now is already his limit. Wanting to seal Naruto was only a matter of time for him. Ju Shinai is different. First of all, Ju Shinai will use the sealing technique, and secondly, Ju Shinai was originally cultivated as a pillar force of the 9 tails to understand how to control the power of the 9 tails. She doesn't get too familiar. Naruto stormed away and burst out the power of the 9 tails, and he could still control it within a certain range. But if Ju Shinai burst out the power of the 9 tails, it would be a big trouble for him. Therefore, after seeing the timing, his first target was Ju Shinai. I saw that after the ape flying sun came to Ju Shinai, his right hand became a claw and darkened towards Ju Shinai's lower abdomen. And on his 5 fingers, there were 5 chakra flames. Ninja Law, 5 elements ban. Rumble. Ju Shinai, who was paying attention to Naruto, did not have time to dodge, and was directly succeeded by the attack of the ape flying sun. Moment. Ju Shinai flew out upside down. And the golden iron chain bound to Naruto also dissipated in the air as Ju Shinai was beaten away. Mean. Uchiha Makoto caught Ju Shinai, and the pupils in her eyes turned scarlet, and 3 gouge jade appeared in her eyes. No line ban, hehe, I didn't expect that the sealing technique of my Vortex clan was finally used against my own people, but it's really ironic. Feeling the chakra in his body, completely sealed, Ju Shinai said with self-deprecation. Sarutobi ignored Ju Shinai and turned to look at Naruto. At this time, Naruto was looking at Ju Shinai, who was beaten into the air blankly. And when the ape flying sun's gaze fell on him, it suddenly burst out. Roar. Wrapped in a red chakra, Naruto like a beast was completely enraged. 0. He raised his head and roared, and then, like an off-string arrow, rushed towards the ape flying sun. However, Sarutobi had no interest in entanglement with Naruto anymore. He jumped and distanced himself from Naruto, and then ordered loudly, seal the class, seal the 9-tailed demon fox. Quote. Yes. Swish. Several figures instantly appeared around Naruto, and immediately after, these people clasped their hands together at the same time and shouted loudly, 4 elephants ban. Quote. Father. Naruto's 4 directions simultaneously raised 4 green translucent barriers. Bang bang. Naruto, who was completely violent, stared at the ape flying sun, wanting to rush over and tear him to pieces. His claws, constantly grasping the green barrier, wanted to break this barrier and launch an attack on the ape flying sun. However, no matter how he attacked this barrier just didn't react at all. Fire escape. How fireball technique. Call. A huge fireball flew towards the ninjas who cast their seals. And the spellcaster is none other than Makoto Uchiha. Water escape. Water array wall. Seeing that the fireball was about to fall on those sealed ninjas, more than a dozen figures appeared in front of the fireball, and then the 2 ninjas sealed and performed water ninjutsu, forming a wall of water and blocking in front of the fireball. Moisture. The fireball collided with the water, and 1.0 suddenly rose into a burst of mist. Big sister, are you all right? At this time, the trio of Sunset Red, Red Bean, and Nara Shikaku Pig Deer Butterfly all came to Ju Shinai's side. A fighting stance was made. Swish. However, at this moment, dozens of more figures fell on the ground, directly surrounding several people in the middle. Surrender, don't struggle senselessly. Ape Flying Sun slowly came to Ju Shinai and the others, and looked at several people with expressionless faces. Ha, Ape Flying Sun Chop, you are really bold, since the person who dares to move me, live impatiently. Quote. Mutation again. Just when Ape Flying Sun slashed in the posture of a victor, he looked at Ju Shinai and the others. A figure reached everyone's ears. The Ape Flying Sun, who was already in sight of victory, suddenly heard this familiar voice, and the whole person was stunned. Not only him, but everyone present stayed in place one by one after hearing this voice. Immediately afterwards, the ninjas who followed the Ape Flying Sun slashed their expressions began to panic a little. And after Ju Shinai heard this voice, their faces all showed surprise. Night morning. Thousand hands night morning. Almost at the same time, everyone's eyes looked in one direction. The roof of a small two-story building. A figure illuminated by a huge full moon is full of mystery. And in the arms of this figure, it seems to be holding something, making it feel like a little gentle in the mystery. Su. The figure suddenly flashed and disappeared in place. Immediately afterwards, Ju Shinai and the others saw the familiar back. And Ape Flying Sun Chop and the others saw a handsome face that they would never want to see. It's no one else. It was from the border of the Land of Fire, hurrying to catch up, and had just returned to the night morning of Konoha. 20 When he was ambushed by Union Village, he knew that there must be Ape Flying Sun Chopping and these 2 or 5 children involved. Unexpectedly, they knew that the Ape Flying Sun Chopping them were involved. Yorimi was really worried after he left Konoha. Ape Flying Sun Chopping these 2 or 5 will do something to Ju Shinai and others. So, after recovering some chakra, Yechin rushed to Konoha village with all his strength. Just as he guessed, these guys only promise to the outside and can really punch hard internally. Really shot at Ju Shinai and others. Fortunately, things haven't happened to the point of no return, and if something happens to Ju Shinai, there is no need for this village to exist. How did you come back? Quote. Looking at the night morning in front of him, Ape Fairy was a little unfavorable when he spoke. Yes, how did I get back? Quote. Yechin looked at the ape flying with a smile on his face, but his eyes were unusually cold. I really disappointed Naruto-sama when I came back, right? Looking at the smiling night morning, and then hearing his unusually calm words, the ninjas who surrounded Ju Shinai and the others felt a chill in their spine. Phew. Ape Fei Richo took a deep breath, calmed his mood, put a hypocritical mask on his face again, and looked at Yechin kindly. Yechin, what are you talking about? It's too late for me to be happy that you can come back, how can I be disappointed? Quote. Yes, the original smile on Yi Chen's face disappeared in an instant, and a momentum pressed towards Ape Flying Sun Chopper and others. He stared at Ape Flying Sun Chopper deadly, and said in a tone full of indifference, then. Excuse me, Naruto-sama, I just left Konoha for a few days, Now he took people around my Senju clan, trapped Naruto again, and beat my woman, What do you want to do? Quote. Everyone, including Ape Flying Sun, felt the momentum on Yi Chen's body, as well as the rich killing intent, and their hearts were all cold. He's getting stronger again. Ape Fairy Chopper sensed the momentum on Yi Chen's body, and his heart was full of shock, and he could be very sure that Yi Chen had become powerful again. Could it be? Has Yechin reached the point of the first generation? Thinking that Yechin might have reached the point of the original Hokage, Ape Fairy's heart sank. The people brought by the Ape Flying Sun Chop were also in cold sweat at this time, and their eyes all fell on the Ape Flying Sun Chop. Phew. Sarutobi exhaled and squeezed an ugly smile on his face. Yechin, I got news that the seal in Naruto's body is a little unstable, and it may run away, so I brought someone over, you see. Fortunately, we came in time, otherwise the consequences are immeasurable. Quote. After speaking, he also pointed to Naruto, who was sealed in 4 green barriers, like a small-tailed beast. Yokuchin's gaze also looked at Naruto. In fact, he had just seen the violent Naruto, but he didn't understand the situation, so it was difficult to start immediately. You talk nonsense, it's obviously you. From beginning to end, the Red Bean, who was pulled by the sunset red and did not dare to say more, became bold because of the presence of the night morning. Hearing the words of Ape Flying Sun turning black and white upside down, he immediately stood up. However, she didn't wait for her to finish. Sunset Hong directly covered her mouth. She wanted to struggle, but Ju Shinai came over and pulled her, and then stopped. Big sister, why don't we expose the Ape Flying Sun? These guys are disgusting. Quote. Sunset Hong let go of the red bean, and immediately, the red bean was full of puzzlement, and asked Ju Shinai in a low voice. It's not time yet. Ju Shinai shook his head slightly, his face gloomy. I didn't understand before. Obviously there were already so many families supporting Yechen, but Yechen just didn't do anything to them. Now I understand. You see, today the Ape Flying Sun took people, surrounded us, and captured us, except for you two little girls, and they came for a long time. And, when Ju Shinai said this, his voice was a little lower. Luju, they came, but none of the people in their family came. Is this normal? Quote. After Hongdu listened to Ju Shinai's words, the whole person stayed in place. Oh, yes, such a big thing happened to the Thousand Hands clan, and it is impossible for other families who support Yechen not to know about it, right? All right, even their families have people who oppose supporting Yechen and standing in line with the Ape Flying Sun. But it can't all be like the Uchiha family. 220 Nearly half of the people oppose Uchiha Fugaku, right? After all, since Senju came to power, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan have been at odds. It's not surprising that so many people oppose Uchiha Fugaku. After all, there is also an Ape Flying Sun slashing to engage in small actions. But what about the other small families? There are also half of the people standing in line Ape Flying to the Sun. Moreover, even the three clans of Pig Deer Butterfly only had the arrival of the Patriarch, and none of the other clansmen had arrived. Why is that? It's not that I think Yechen is dead. I don't want to be involved with the Thousand Hands family anymore. The water is deep in this. Ju Shinai seemed to grow up all of a sudden, perhaps because she saw Red Bean and Red. These two little sisters are really good, and they are not big families, she said so much. However, these words are not afraid of being known, and even if they do, they are nothing. Because, the Night Morning came back. As long as Night Morning is alive, those who waver will stand in line again Night Morning. Because the interests of those people, after the solicitation of these two Chinese New Year's Eve mornings, have been bound to them. If Yechen really died outside, Ape Flying Sun Chopper completely controlled Konoha, not to mention to destroy them, at least there was suppression. Therefore, if they continue to work with Yechen, their interests will be even greater. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.